This meeting is called to order. Can everybody please rise and they open the flag salute? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Review. Okay. My statement. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. Meeting of September 9, 2024 was included in the list of meetings notice sent to the Hunterdon County Democrat and Courier News on January 3, 2024, posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall on that date, and has remained continuously posted as required. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the borough clerk. Couple of pieces of business before we really get into this meeting. Number one, I'm going to apologize if you hear anything on my cell phone. I normally put it on airplane mode, but I have my mayor's report in there, so until I'm done with that, it's not turned off. And I'm going to apologize in advance in case any noises emit from it. Number two, our esteemed clerk is out in a medical emergency, so I need a motion to deputize Brian McNally for the night as deputy clerk. I have a motion. Sarah. Is there?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Tony, are you an aye on that, or Liz?
Yep, aye.
Just need four of you, okay. Can I have a roll call on
May.
Mr. McNally?
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Here.
Councilwoman Sorrow,
Here.
Council President Long. Here. Councilman Parker.
Here.
Councilman Levitt.
Here.
Council Vice President Rossetti.
Here.
And Mayor Carroll.
Here, thank you. This does not count towards your pension, Mr. McNally.
Yeah, I thought about that after we.
Okay.
I mean, does it count as hazard pay maybe?
They eliminated all the 2017.
Trying to get something.
Right, so, the first order of business, the first order of business is to offer Angela Gonzalez a happy anniversary tonight, because it's her wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary,
Thank you.
Would you mind, Robin, if I just let her go and explain the change order to everybody that's appearing later as a resolution on the agenda? Just because it is her wedding anniversary, I feel terrible. Okay.
Thank you.
So we're gonna have a little shift here and talk about this change order. So as all of you are aware, the pit and pump system at the new police building was agreed to be designed for an outside pit and pump. And Neela, our contractor, went and designed and, well, actually PS&S designed it and then gave it to Neela to put together a proposal as a change order. That came back in a couple of days ago. And Chris, you and Angela, who wants to go first? Because we have a couple new members who have never done change orders before.
Angela did the heavy lifting, it might be.
Angela,
To
did the heavy
explain
lifting.
the mechanics of the actual, why the change order is needed, and I can explain the law if anyone has questions.
Okay, that sounds fair. Go ahead, Angela, you start with.
Okay. So, we started the construction and as we progressed and there was a backup in the progress of the construction. And it was noted that the sanitary line was basically flat. It didn't have a pitch to it. And that was probably the cause of the backups previously. But until things were excavated and seen, that was impossible to really foresee. So we updated drawings, we created this bulletin number 1, which provided a sump pump, not a sump pump, a sanitary pump with a backup outside in the back of the rear of the building with it's going to be about 6 feet down below. There's going to be it'll be connected to Main Street for now. And once the approval for the, I believe it's Broad Street, did I get that right? I apologize.
Yes.
connection is approved, then that will then be moved out of the building and then back out that way. So the whole purpose was to kind of start that process and not have to also disrupt the police processing area in trying to redo that work in the future.
Okay.
Did that?
Anybody have any word Angela on this?
Angela, is the temporary, I'll call it temporary connection to Main Street constructed any differently than the permanent connection? Being that it is a short-term, fix?
It wouldn't necessarily be constructed any differently, but it's going through the building as opposed to going underground to the to Broad Street. So in order to make that connection, you had to go back into the building. Otherwise, you would have to go all the way around and dig up around the building to make that connection.
You're trenching through the build, like you're ripping up the concrete slab and going through the
To
building.
go
Having to
to go
turn.
out, then it's going to get pumped up
Mhm.
and then out to Main Street.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any other questions for Angela? Chris, you want to add anything about the law with this?
So, we have a project like this, we obviously open up a public bid, everyone remembers how we went through this, with Nella. For all but the most minor yield changes, if there is a change, in the scope of the project and the amount of the contract, you have to do it by resolution. Up to 20%, it could be done by resolution, it's essentially a memo from, the entity requesting the authority, in this case, that's Angela, us essentially project manager. And then if we go any higher than that, we have to come back and do some other things, but it's legally contemplated. You have a resolution I prepared that gives you all the recitations that you need.
Hopefully we won't have any other change
Yeah, you're
orders.
sitting at 18, you know,
Yeah.
Angela, me and the mayor, a couple others, spent a lot of time talking about this over since Thursday when parent, so you got 2% wiggle room here, we'll, see what we can do with it. I think that a lot of good work has been done over there, so we'll see.
Any questions for Chris? Tony, you good? Liz, you good? Tony, you're muted. No, you're still muted. Is he muted on his side?
He is muted.
Muted on your side, Tony.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, that was a lot of work to say that. Okay, thank you. Liz, you good? You good, thumbs up. Okay. All right, so this is item number number 13 under the regular agenda, number 9, resolution 2024-128. I'd like to just move that forward. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda?
Long move.
Is there a second?
I will second.
All in favor? Aye. Can I have a motion to approve resolution, I'm sorry, wrong number. So it's resolution number 2024-130, please fix that. Number 10, resolution authorizing change order number 1, increasing the contract price for police department phase 2A project.
Long move.
Is there a second? Sarah, second. Okay, Council President Luke, Councilwoman Farrar seconded it. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pizarro,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt. Yes. Council President Long. Yes. Councilman Parker,
Yes,
Council Vice President Rossetti.
Yes,
Everybody? That was everybody, okay. Thank you, Angela, happy anniversary.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You're pushing it up. Thank you. Have a
Thank
good night.
You too. All right, next on our agenda, number 5 is the presentation on FCP, the Community Partnerships Marketing Plan. Robin
And Ally.
and Ally, hello, how are you? I'm the president of the FCP, Ally.
Let's go. Yeah.
Robin,
Yeah, have to come up.
You're coming to the.
It have to be recorded.
Nichelle Pace is who is gonna
Yes.
present.
Yes. Awesome. Is this working?
It is working.
Yes, indeed.
So I need your names
Sure.
on the record and In case your affiliation versus your address.
Oh, no. Robin Lapidus, the Executive Director of the Flemington Community Partnership, also known as the Flemington Improvement District. And we're on Stangle Road at the moment.
Ally Morton, president of the FCP.
And who else you have?
Nichelle Paste.
Hi, Nichelle.
Hi, Nichelle. Hi, Nichelle's here. Nichelle Pace of Brand Enchanting Media. I also have Kevin, who's a part of our presentation, if he could be let in as well. Kevin Byer.
He was
He is
on,
215.
okay, he was on, this is him,
Yeah,
on the phone, I can't let him in. On a phone call. He has to go on, he was on mobile before.
Okay.
Do you wanna
I'll
go back
text
on?
him. If not, I could wing it. I don't want to hold up the council meeting, so it's
Yeah,
not a problem.
unfortunately with the webinar platform, the phone call can't come in to present.
Okay, yeah, he's gonna log into his computer in 1 second. I think he can hear us,
What happened with the?
but I can get us started in the meantime.
thank you, Nichelle.
Absolutely. And do I have the ability to share my screen?
I made you a co-host, so as long as you accepted that, you should be able to.
Okay, awesome. All right.
Hi, Kevin.
Hello.
All
So
right.
this is our
Can you hear me?
new
Yes.
marketing and branding firm. And we've been working together. They've also been working with the Economic Development and Tourism Office of Hunterdon County, and we were part of seeing them win this awesome bid to be the agency of the Economic Development and Tourism Office. So we've worked together over time, and we're really just starting to jump into full gear right now. So take it away, Nichelle.
Absolutely appreciate that. Well, wonderful to be with you all tonight at City Council. So thanks for adding us to the agenda so we can.
Before you keep going, since you're working for the Borough of Flemington, you're Borough Council, not City Council.
Sorry, the borough, excuse me. The borough of Flemington. So wonderful to be here with you all. We'd like to kind of just give an intro of who we are and some of the work that we've been doing. My name is Nichelle Pace. I am the founder and president of Brand Enchanting Media. We are a New Jersey full service boutique ad agency here in the great state of New Jersey. We are your neighbors down south, located in Camden County. And I have with me today our SVP of Client Success, Kevin Byer.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. And with that, just to kind of give you a little background about Brand Enchanting Media, we pride ourselves in bringing cultural relevance to brands through inclusive storytelling. We are a culturally responsible creative agency built on inclusion, and we're on a mission to help our brands such as the great borough of Flemington and Hunterdon County on their mission to shape their brands and to speak to mass audiences and to bring awareness to all the wonderful offerings of the municipality. Just a quick overview, we're 8 years old. We have worked with many clients on the consumer, retail, as well as nonprofit and government side. We've worked with New Jersey Economic Development Authority, Hunterdon County Tourism and Economic Development, as Robin so eloquently mentioned, and several other large name brands, whether it be Procter & Gamble, O'Neill Ventnors, and Distillers. This is just a little snapshot of our team and our org chart, and some of the folks that we have on staff here. And then getting into the nitty gritty of what our approach is. Our approach is similar to what the work obviously that we're doing with Hunterdon County. So we've spent lots of time in Flemington on some of the campaign work that we're doing overall for the county, and have had wonderful conversations to start to collaborate with Robin and the FCP team on how we can use some of our expertise to help the borough of Flemington. Just a quick, we pride ourselves on an integrated strategy, as well as our creative output. I'm not going to, kill you by PowerPoint, but this is just kind of an overview of who we are and how we think in terms of working with brands, as well as some of our experience, how we put it into practice when we're looking at creating consumer touch points for consumers of our brands. So overall, our strategic approach is to evaluate, research, do a creative exploratory planning, and as well as collaborate. So we really pride ourselves in making sure we take a deep dive into the brand experience, previous initiatives that the Borough of Flemington and FCP have accomplished, and how can we build upon some of the great work that's already been done. We try not to reinvent the wheel, but we do try to bring a fresh pair of eyes and strategy that we would do for whether you're a large client or a small business. We treat all with the same elevated level of strategic priority. And that's very key to us to have success for the brands and the partners that we work with. We do have previous experience, and if I can date myself, before it was known as Visit Philly, I was at the helm of the digital kind of boom of what you know now as Visit Philly was Greater Philadelphia Tourism and Marketing Commission. I also have done work with the town in Asheville, North Carolina. So we have experience working with tourism marketing, specifically within the region as well. And to go into what our objectives and our goals are for Flemington is really to create a thriving business climate for Flemington through storytelling of the 3 core business districts and leaning into their unique perspectives, and to obviously, at the end of the day, gain more visitors and more visibility for the Borough of Flemington. We're looking to work with Robin, Allie, and team to create a distinct branding identity for the 3 business areas, and utilizing creative campaigns, possibly signature events for all 3 of the identified districts. We're also looking to have somewhat of a ground softening for local hotel and restaurant openings coming in 2025 and any other economic development that's coming down the pike. We want to make sure that the businesses are prepared, they're included, and we're all collaborating effectively, whether that be through extended education to local businesses via marketing and business development workshops in partnership with FCP and Hunterdon County Chamber, including integrated marketing efforts with local business development efforts. One thing we pride ourselves on that we've done since our second year as an agency is we've always participated in small business development through marketing workshops. I participate and serve on the board of the South Jersey Chamber, as well as a local business association here. So as part of our offerings, we make sure that we do participate as much as possible to lend our expertise to the marketing, the branding, business operations to our small businesses on a regular basis. And that's something we do ongoing. We've participated with Verizon and many other chambers throughout the state of New Jersey to bring this type of content and education to our small businesses. Somebody have a question?
No.
Okay. And the final piece of that is to work with the stakeholders in Flemington to develop a 3- and 5-year long-term plans, whether that's assessing long-term goals and opportunities, preparing for the 250th anniversary of the Constitution. These are just examples. We know FIFA is also coming to New Jersey, but how can we leverage this from a brand and tourism standpoint to actually leverage some of the buzz that's going to be built around some of these initiatives and how we can benefit from that with some strategic recommendations and campaigns in Flemington. Going a little bit deeper into our detail on how we work in terms of our strategy. We first attack kind of the key messaging points and make sure that's in sync with what the borough is looking for and what the FCP team is looking for. Develop clear and consistent messages that highlight the 3 business districts we mentioned, making sure some of the details are buttoned up, taglines, longer form copy, key talking points for the press, as well as emphasize the overall experience and start to bring that to life for visitors of what it's like to spend a day in Flemington. And then from that, we work on our creative campaign and content creation, whether that's engaging in a video campaign or engaging in a billboard campaign. For Explore Hunterdon, we have, for the first time, they've launched things such as billboards. We did a video campaign that ran on some streaming services. So we had 30-second commercial spots. And we also worked in event as well as radio station spots into one of our event campaigns that we did for the county. And these are starting to yield results in terms of traffic, visitors, visibility, and most importantly, awareness. As I like to say, and as my mentor likes to say, you can't sell a secret. So these are some of the strategies and tactics that we take to bring the awareness. So you're getting more traffic, you're getting more eyeballs, and ultimately leading that to more visits, more shopping, more bookings, if you will. And that all goes across everything, whether it's influencers, unique photography, engaging with different online content creators, as well as how can we really leverage any kind of print and collateral materials for visitors, as well as print and media buys that we may use, whether that's out of home, whether that is, in retail, the experience and making sure there's different touch points that we have throughout the borough. And then actually making sure that we have a good repository of content that we can push out on a regular. The next part of that is the digital and web and social presence. So what we do is we like to work with some of the earlier strategy I mentioned and then put that into practice in the digital and social spaces. So making sure we're looking at the SEO of the website, optimizing for website and search engines, keyword optimization, photography optimization, making sure messaging is on point on the main hub of the website, and developing and helping manage any social media campaigns and content to interact with the audience. We recommend platforms because it's not necessary just to be on every platform. You have to be on the platforms that are right for your audience. And with that in mind, we take a deep dive to make sure based on the goals that Flemington has, that we're hitting on those goals and we're actually on the right platforms to help achieve those goals. And that includes things such as content development, as well as interactive content recommendations, which can include content surveys and the like. The great thing about when you have a web presence is it's a great place to test. And we like to do a lot of testing because that way you can do low-cost testing of different campaigns, different ideas, different brand messaging before you roll it out full course. Also, from a public relations standpoint, we do help with getting press release and coverage and the strategy behind that, developing schedule for key push periods. There may be different events, different happenings within Flemington and throughout the borough that you may want to promote or may want to get some more press eyeballs on. So we do help strategically plan and help engage in those areas. And then also help identify not just traditional media, but also the non-traditional media, whether they're content creators and influencers, to generate coverage and help build and maintain relationships. And obviously, we bring relationships to the table as much as possible for our client partners.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
This contract, is it based on so many hours a month? Or is it just global projects? If there are other events that need promoting, I mean, how does that work?
Well, our contract is just based on kind of a flat rate of hours per month, and it's whatever you need us to do within those hours. So we don't want to pigeonhole anyone, and we want to make sure you have the flexibility for us to be able to pivot and work on things that are priority for the borough.
How many hours a month are you being contracted for?
It's about 30, I believe, right?
And-
About
And
28
if
to
they
30.
don't use all 30 hours, do they carry forward? Or are they lost?
No, we carry them forward.
And if they go over, then it's a flat hourly rate for the additional hours?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, and the proposed strategy detail, just kind of going into the final piece of this, the events and experiences. You know, we will work with Robin and team to make sure that, again, we're highlighting the unique features of Flemington through the events and experiences, and encourage our local businesses to host promotions and special events that tie into some of the campaign and marketing efforts. And then finally comes the metrics and evaluation. Work together with the team to establish what those KPIs would be. What are we looking to accomplish? Are we looking for web views? Are we looking for Eventbrite bookings? We go through all that exercise to figure out what exactly does success look like to everyone as a whole, and then monitor that and see how we can optimize that as well. And then continuing that optimization, whether it's through creative updates, data updates, you name it, it runs the course, but it's always customized based on what your top and priority goals are. Finally, this is just a snapshot of some of our work samples here. This is some of the things, and apologies for the resolution because we're online. We couldn't bring out the full resolution of the PDF. But this is some examples of what we've done in the county. These are some billboards that ran in different areas throughout central North Jersey and across the river in PA. And some examples of the video tour that we actually shot in Flemington with celebrity chef Aaron McCargo Jr., where he went through a couple of Flemington businesses, including Matt's Red Rooster, Bread and Culture, and did some great dynamic interviews, as well as content that we created within those businesses. And then we turned that into long form content on YouTube and short form content across all the social channels. And we repurposed that content and made content batches for each of the businesses that participate to use on their own channel. So not only did we produce videos for Hunterdon County, we gave each business their own set of video assets and photo assets that they can then use in their marketing. And the rest of this is just kind of work that we've done for other associations, the Camden Business Association, New Jersey Economic Development Authority. We had a rum client where we did the whole installation for the Phillies Park, and that got a lot of notoriety. And then one of our oldest pharmacies in the region, we celebrated their 90th anniversary and new retail experience. And I'm going to stop sharing, and if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, a quick question. Earlier in the presentation, you had proposed there was some focus on diversity. I was just curious, how were you guys intending to unroll anything related to that, as Flemington is pretty diverse?
Absolutely, absolutely. So when we mention diversity, it's really through a lens. It's not it's not a matter of how we're going to execute something that's particularly specific to diversity. Diversity is the foundation of by which we do our work. We make sure we not just have diverse perspectives, not just from a cultural, but from an age, from a socioeconomic standpoint. Diversity is bigger than just ethnicity in our shop here. We look across all, neurodivergent communities. So we make sure we are part of the Conscious Advertising Network to make sure we are responsible marketers and being built on the foundation of diversity, make sure and ensures that we come through not just a cultural lens of diversity, but a lens of diverse in thought, as well as all the other areas of diversity. So this is not just a cultural diversity exercise, but that's to show that we our thinking and our strategic chops are based on diverse perspectives and making sure that we are culturally relevant to all of the touch points and all of the people and all of the consumers that we may come in touch with.
Nicole, that is so, I love how you said that because that's really what diversity is about.
Yes, sir.
It's not a culture, it's not a thing, it's everything. It's the way you talk to it, it's a whole and not parts, right? And you explain that so eloquently, so you've got 35 points for me on that. Because I think that that's really important, especially in advertising, especially in this town, because we're going through this minutia of how do we sort this out, right?
Mhm.
And based upon what I'm hearing from you is that the strategy, the first step is to develop. I'm big on strategy, huge on strategy, because I think that's the most important thing. Is if you have no strategy, you can't execute. What is also encouraging is that I know Asheville, North Carolina, and I remember when Asheville, North Carolina was nothing. And it reminded me a little bit of what Flemington is evolving into. So if you have that project, that I have to say kudos to you guys, because I don't know if you guys have ever been to, anybody's ever been to Asheville back in the day, and if you've gone now, it's completely different. It's evolved. And so I'm hoping that through this, that you will help to evolve the process and help evolve the way of thinking and the way things are viewed. Because I think those are three really good things: the way we're viewed, the way we think, and the way people think of us. And just changing that entire dynamic and paradigm. So I'm hoping that what I'm hearing, it sounds like that's what you do, is that's where we're going.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Tony. And if I may just add in, I mean, that was one of the main reasons that we were attracted to Nichelle and the agency in the first place, but we have been focusing also on accessibility from the FCB standpoint. So part of that earlier this year was going around and visiting all of the businesses and starting to understand their needs, their customers, and it's, a one-man-ish shop, but we're still one woman, sorry. Ew, who am I? Sorry, one woman shop, but plus the board, but we are trying to understand and think through even just the small ways of like doing advertisements in Spanish in addition to doing them in English. And we've started doing that and we've seen success and outreach to the community. So it's going to be flowing through from a diversity standpoint, like across the board. So more people can find out about the stuff that we're doing. And I just wanted to add, because as a marketer, this work is very close to my heart. And the focus for us going forward is this sort of 360 view of marketing and communications, which I think because of budget constraints in the past, and we still don't have a huge budget, but we have sort of focused on like one piece, and without figuring out which levers to pull at which time of year, which levers to pull based on which event we're supporting, we were doing not enough of the right things at the right times to be successful from a marketing standpoint. And that is why we were looking for a partner like Brandon Channing, because they understand that we may have a sign project that's taking precedence right now, right? But in a month from now, those objectives stay the same of ground softening for what's to come for Flemington and how do we get those messages out. And so that's, things change. We know what we have every month, like from an hour standpoint, but how we spend them are gonna be very different based on what the priorities are, and we need an agency that can support that constant pivoting.
So one of my questions, Michelle, you had mentioned the KPIs. Can you guys give me like jointly, like an example of a KPI? And what is the length to meet that indicator? And how you measure it? Because it's, is it the number of people? Is it, you know, how do you guys get to that? One of those KPIs?
For sure. So the first part of that, I'll kind of use Hunterdon as an example. So one of the things we ironed out early on, or identified, excuse me, early on, was that Hunterdon over-indexed on traffic and visibility from the New York and North Jersey market. And right across the bridge is PA and the suburbs of Philly, which didn't have as much traffic when they actually had an easier commute to get into Hunterdon. They're literally across the bridge. So with that, one of the things we set out to do was to increase visibility in that market. And then within the first 3 to 4 months, we had increased from this time last year traffic from that area just to the channels by themselves by well over 600%. So that's an example of a KPI. First, you have to identify what your goal is. Our goal was to increase visibility from the Philadelphia suburban market because we knew those visitors were low-hanging fruit. And they even got a few phone calls that said, hey, you know, I didn't know anything about it. Why? They saw the billboard. They saw the billboards that were in Bucks County over in Philadelphia and said, I didn't know you guys were right here. You know, so those are
Giant
types of
team
things.
versus the Eagle team, so it's not surprising. They don't come here, because we're
Right.
north of trend, right? Everything's south of trends, Eagles, everything north of trends, Giants.
Yeah, well, in the county, everything
Well,
south, the south half of the county turned out to be Eagles and the north half turned out to be Giants. So we actually use that unique positioning that Hunterdon is kind of at the Mason-Dixon line for the Battle of I-95 event.
There are so many Eagles fans around here, though. I was unaware.
She was alone,
Showing up.
They're gonna let it out too, they don't hide
No, they don't.
it. Anyway.
So yeah, those are some examples of KPIs. And when you have a unique situation like Hunterdon, where you have both, half the county gets New York television, the other half gets Philadelphia television, you have to think of some unique solutions on how to, you know, how to reach those demographics and how to reach the low hanging fruit. And right across the river from you, you still have a lot of people that still are unaware of the great offerings of Hunterdon and boroughs like Flemington.
Thank you.
I had a question, if that's okay. Well, Ally actually kind of answered my question, I just want, and this might be a question for Ally and Robin and not Brandon Chanting, but either one of you guys can take it. I like what Ally said, and my question was going to be, how is that 30 hours? What are your priorities and how are those 30 hours going to be broken down? But I think Ally really already answered that in that you've got priorities, but active things also, you know, come up and you may use Brandon Chanting for ticking off developing a branding program. But this month you're also having them focus on this particular task that has nothing to do with the long-term branding. So did I understand that correctly? You've got some short-term goals, some long-term goals.
Yeah,
Can you give me an idea of what some of those goals are in addition to the brand?
Sure, yeah, so what I can say is imagine a time where corn tomato beer is coming up, right? A lot of our hours are gonna be spent
Sure.
on getting set up for that. Right now, as we've just kicked off some of this work, we have signs as like we'll call a short-term priority. Long-term is the ongoing rebuilding of the brand or rebranding. The work that we've had, you know, we have this Love Flemington for a long time. there's a lot of really exciting things happening in the next, that have been happening and continuing to happen into particularly early next year from a foot traffic standpoint, and there is no better time than to come out screaming and be like, hey, this is Flemington, welcome. We've always been here, and there's gonna be a lot of work that we're gonna put into that storytelling aspect, that's gonna then be able to be pulled through some of the other pieces that we're doing. So,
I'm gonna, Andy, as a companion to that, at the retreat that we had at the beginning of the year, we did a sort of vision exercise to talk about the 3 different business areas, because what's needed at the Circle shopping plazas and is different from what's needed on Main Street, which is different from what's actually really working on Stangl. So to be able to, not overextend so that we aren't hitting the right notes, but to be able to come up with events that really do important messaging and create an experience is what we're looking to do. So,
but there's definitely a thread through all of the pieces,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
important,
the
it's like
point.
the Flemington is the hero story. But defining the 3 pieces, right, defining the 3 pieces is of Flemington that makes it up is what is going to be sort of our unique differentiator, and so it's part of it's gonna be building the brand and then starting executing it.
If I could, what I really want to be cautious of, I want everybody to be cautious of this. We're starting from ground zero, actually. I mean, if the reality is this ground zero. You can't get into 30 hours. How are you going to spend this 30 hours? You're going to spend that. That's not how you do this. I'm not coming from a marketing standpoint. That's not how you do this. That's not how marketing works. What it is that here are the projects. It goes back to the strategy and the action steps to get to that strategy, to accomplish that, to get to that goal, right? And so the bottom line is, what I'm hearing is nitpicking here, nitpicking there. Well, they may have to go to this. It's an overall strategy. It's an overall, how do we build this foundation? And that's what they really need to concentrate on, is how do they build the foundation to get us from point 0 to point 1 at least, right? And there may be some nuances to that in a whole bit. It's not a matter of Robin's going to do this and Allie's going to do this and Brandy's going to do this. It's a matter of, here are the goals. Here's what needs to be accomplished. This is when it needs to be accomplished. That's really what it's all about. Because I keep hearing, well, how are you going to divide the time and what does that mean? The KPIs are a leading indicator for sure, right? That is a leading thing that says that's how we're going to get it done. That's how, and then how are we going to measure that is basically what is the outcome of those things. That's basically what a marketing thing does. For anybody who's not been in marketing, I'm just telling you, this is how it works. She's spot on what she's saying. I get it. But don't get into how many hours you're going to do this and how many hours is that going to take and how many hours is that going to take. It doesn't work that way. And what you're going to end up doing is spinning wheels, and we're going to go backwards instead of moving forward. I'm just putting that out
I had a second question, if you don't mind. Very quickly, prior to Love Flemington, there was another branding company that was hired, I believe, a previous bid.
Mm-hmm.
Did you provide that report to this company when you hired them? Or is there anything to be able to?
We will review, yes, we'll review everything, but
Yeah.
we're at a very unique moment to move to the future. And while we appreciate all the work that's been done in the past and we will look at it, it's really, I think this is a time for fresh eyes.
I agree with you, but I just wanna make, you mentioned you don't wanna
Yes.
spend money that you didn't have, so if there's anything in that previous work that they can use, I'd rather them use that than have to
Yes.
reinvent the wheel.
So we looked at Explore Flemington, right? It's what it was, Explore Flemington. I was like, hey, it's 400 now, so there's definitely no way.
Yeah.
We're doing
Not
that.
going back.
And Love Flemington, and we've gone through a lot of the documentation, and actually we worked collaboratively on coming up with what the objectives are. Because to me, the objectives are our North Star. If anything that we are doing does not ladder up to those things, then it is not worth our time. And so we have looked at that and have gone through some of the information that folks had pulled together. So yes, the answer is yes, and ahead of sort of getting stuff.
I do remember that consultant and they did have some interesting things. I really liked the work they did in Kanab, Arizona, and actually saw a lot of parallels to our community there. So I would just encourage them to take a look and it might inspire them.
Great.
I also did like what Tony said about how others see us versus how we see ourselves, and I wanted to thank you for that comment.
And I just wanna state that we can't understate that right now, we're very clear, there are 3 business areas. There is the stuff around the circles, you know, all the businesses and services there. There is a very busy Stengel Arts and Cultural District that people are really starting to identify as a destination and as a cultural district. And there's then the very historic and wonderful Main Street. So those concepts of the 3 business areas weren't quite as clear or as functional as they are at the moment with whatever the future, whatever exists now and whatever the future will bring. And that's really where I think if we don't have people understanding that there's 3 business areas, what are they called? How do they relate and why, what an abundance of riches it is to have 3 different really distinct business areas. That's what makes Flemington unique, but it's the story that we tell about each of them and the people that are attracted to them that make us, will make us memorable and compared to all the other places that have had success, like, you know, Lambertville.
Are we all good? This is
Yeah,
on
good.
35 minutes and we're still doing a
Sorry.
20-minute presentation, so it was great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Michelle. Really appreciate your time. And thank you, Ally, for coming out. Really appreciate seeing you.
Feel better.
You're gonna stay, right?
I'm saying.
Okay. You always
Look
do.
forward to working with you all. Thank you.
You guys are looking miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's music. I don't.
She has allergies.
It's the season. You'll none of them.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again so
Everybody.
much.
Thank you.
And thanks, Ally, for coming out. All right, good. Next is mayor's report. We're gonna have a lot to talk about. First of all, I just wanted brief announcement, the 9/11 ceremony that Sheriff Brown hosts every year is this Wednesday at the Justice Complex at 8:30. All are welcome, and I would assume, especially from the host community of Flemington Borough. So that's one thing I just wanted to put out there. It's open to the public. And, Sheriff always does a really nice job.
I'm sorry, Mayor, is it actually at the Justice Center again this
I
year?
believe it is at the
Even
Justice
though
Center.
it
Yeah,
passed?
I'm pretty sure that's what the invitation said.
Yeah.
It was at the Justice Center. Secondly, I don't know who else on the council received correspondence from a secondary electrical seller.
I did.
Okay, I have gotten some really angry constituent mail regarding us selling out them. I received one of these saying you didn't opt out, so therefore you're in. I needed to contact them and work into this company and, you know, brought it to Ron McNally's attention tonight. If he knew anything about it. You wanna just like tell everybody up here what you told me?
Sure, so a little bit of research that I dove in today came from the mayor of Union Township. Where they had residents also get this information, so they had reached out to this company, found out that sometime in 2017, 17 of 26 municipalities engaged in this cooperative. And it sounds like these are renewals that are going out. So we probably need to look into it a little bit more on the borough's end.
Susan, did you say that you did?
I did receive one, it was just.
Oh, you received it,
I
but you,
received
but
it
nobody
today.
up here ever opted
No, I
into
never-
this thing?
I think I recall in 2017 that there
I
was
do
some
too.
brouhaha. And people pushed back on it, and I was one of the people that pushed back on it, but I never opted in for it.
So what they found in
I'm not
Union
sure that
Township,
whoever even opted into this whole program.
right, so what they found in Union
Yeah.
Township is they did not opt into the program. They were one of the municipalities that did not,
Okay.
and their residents received it by mistake.
I think we did opt in, I vaguely remember something about it,
Right.
I think.
Now,
we did
now
opt
this
in.
may be different though, because if you recall,
It could
maybe
be.
what, last month or 2 months ago, we dealt with this Hunterdon Energy Cooperative.
Mhm.
Which was which is something completely different than this, is what we believe.
Oh, that's the one that I got.
That was when you got in the mail that we dealt with. That was like what, mid-July we dealt with that, right? And but that was completely voluntary. That's like if you wanted to enroll
Right,
in it.
no, I got this, you didn't opt out, so you're now
Yeah,
in.
this is something different, so, or it appears different,
So how is Union Township handling this?
Well, Union Township just put out to their residents that, well, only 12 residents in Union Township received these letters by mistake, is what was.
But isn't this the one, which is the one where there was supposed to be a public?
That was the Hunterdon Energy Cooperative,
That was that one, that then got delayed or postponed or didn't happen.
correct, and then the letters
Has
just went
nothing
out.
to do with the one that,
This appears to be something completely different, so,
This sounds like a scam.
almost, but, you know, apparently the Union Township mayor and the Bethlehem mayor ran this down with JCP&L and the company today. And 17 of the 26 municipalities in Hunter County did.
so they have a list, like if I call our government liaison, she would know whether Flemington Borough actually opted in.
Amy may know, yeah.
But I mean, this thing is in perpetuity, like, it doesn't have a renewal period where the borough council has to re-up.
I don't know that, I mean, if you want me, I can get an email chain going between you, myself, Amy, and we can add Chris to it and
Let's do that.
and start
ASAP.
running it down tomorrow morning.
Cause I'm
and-
telling you, I'm getting some hot mail.
Yes. I
Yeah, well,
think we all are.
as are we, so.
The name, you just
Yeah, hold on,
sent
I
it
can
to me.
read it. It's
I actually brought it, so.
So it says JCP&L at the top of the letter, but then it's identified as IDT Energy 550 Broad Street, Newark. So, but the notice is coming from JCP&L. So that's why I think we need to start with Amy
Let's do that tomorrow.
and go from there.
All right, I'll find room. You just start it and I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I'd like to
Right.
know. if
I'll get it going
affiliated
and then
with
unleash you
the-
on her.
What?
I'll get it going and then I'll unleash you on her.
I'd like to know whether it's associated with the thing that we did approve a few years ago. Cause I know we did do something a few years ago.
Yeah, but so that Hunterdon Energy
This-
Cooperative is a separate thing that
This was
you
it.
choose them as a third party
Right.
energy provider.
That's not this.
This is,
different.
this reads completely different and it's very like. If you do not take any action, you're automatically opted in.
But then you also can take time afterwards to opt out, and there's the confusion, and that's why our neighbors are emailing and calling us and knocking on our
But they're
door.
angry because
And I know,
they've
I'm
been
angry.
placed into a program that they never said they wanted to be.
Right, and everybody's confused
I-
already because you have some people that their energy bills have gone up $200-300 a month already, and now you're selling me off to a third party energy supplier, like what's going on here, so. You know, I think that's a big part
Okay,
of the,
so I'll expect to hear from you tomorrow. on
yes, I'll get it going in the
I
morning.
appreciate that very much, okay. Another announcement is that, officially, next Monday on the 16th, Main Street closures are going to start occurring for, the unloading of, steel for the Union Hotel project. There will be one way only on Main Street. Traffic will not, Main Street's not gonna be closed to the public. And the time period of disruption will be 7 AM in the morning to 2 PM in the afternoon. So by the time the kids are getting out of school, Main Street is supposed to be clean and open. And it will also be open for business on Saturdays and Sundays. So, so there won't, and it's gonna last a couple of weeks. Then there's gonna be a lull, a hiatus, and then it's gonna happen again. So right now, they're gonna be unloading the very high 40-foot long I don't know what they are, girders?
Steel beams.
Steel
Yeah.
beams, thank
Yeah.
you, and then the second round will be doing the girders that go across. So notices have gone out, I believe Robin's been working with the businesses, letting them know on Main Street. Notices go out by email, by text messaging from the borough. So that is what's happening. I just wanna also let you all know that Anna Palma, our part-time receptionist, put in a very nice resignation letter last week, or the week before last. And let me see, I want to give a parking committee update. I don't think that I let the council and public know that one of the things that the parking committee did do was address 3 of 4 traffic lights in the borough. The one that was not addressed is the one at Church Main. The one at North Main and Fran Boulevard, our traffic engineer has retimed that to allow more time to cross across Main Street from Fran and Park Avenue. But until school is fully up and running, he'll be going out and looking again. He's not sure if he's got the timing right. So that one was done. On Church and Broad, that traffic light at Herman Cap, there was a counter that was counting cars in order to change lights in a more needed way. That counter was broken and that has been fixed. The third light that was addressed or is being addressed is the one on Route 31 at Wawa to allow a longer left turn lane. That's dealing with the DOT. It's out of our control, therefore, it is still being worked on.
Did he send a letter?
We'll find out when we see him next, whether he called or sent a letter, so. Those lights, at least 2 out of 3 right now are in process of working better, for the motoring public, and the safety of, people trying to cross those areas. We have new problems, however, which the parking committee will be discussing, which includes a residential cul-de-sac at the north end of town that has a lot of cars parking on there that are not on their street and creating problems that include turning problems because it is a cul-de-sac, it's not a through street. Some obnoxious parkers who have blocked mailboxes and driveways. The police are totally aware, they have been ticketing pretty much on a daily basis, going out and keeping track of where these cars are. There's also been an influx of similar bad parking of people who don't live at the Muse apartment complex happening there as well. And they've been giving warning notices that they're gonna start towing them because these are not their renters. So we'll be talking about that. The parking committee has a brand new issue in it. It'd be so easy to just say, okay, we're gonna make this residential only, but then what will happen is those same people will start parking on Allen Street or Catner or North Place. I mean, it's just gonna push it somewhere else. And even though those are through streets and it's a little easier, if we're gonna do something major, we really should be doing it at one time. I wanted to also let you know that the pit, nobody asked where the funding was coming from. I'm gonna volunteer this. The money for the pit and pumping system, because that is not part of the original monies, it's out of scope. Bill Hans, our CFO, had some American Recovery Act money left. It's not a lot, but it's enough to cover this project, so he is able to certify through that American Recovery Act money that we have $100 and whatever that is, $1,000 to do that project. Next, I wanted to tell you that there was a conference call last week with our amazing council, Megan Bennett, as well as my champion, I think Bill Hans was on the call, myself, and our engineer, Robert Machucci for the Main Street project up at the Circle, regarding the lead lines. So, we got money back in 2019 to do the street that wasn't spent. You held that project until we got the money to do the sewer lines at the same time, so that this project wouldn't have to be repeated and the road wouldn't have to be dug up. Then the last DPW meeting, I had an epiphany that we should be doing the lead and galvanized pipelines at the same time because we don't wanna dig up Brandy Road. So Megan organized an emergency iBank call with the iBank in Trenton and the water people and so they are doing, I'm hoping we're gonna get they're estimating it's gonna be under $200,000 to do the 35 houses if all of them need connection changes. They have a formula on what they calculate. Rob Martucci, who's the engineer on this project, was supposed to get over to the iBank today, a change, update on our iBank application. And I just have to check with him tomorrow and make sure he did that. And then it's gonna go through the water department with the DEP, the drinking water department. And they are telling us that we're gonna get 100% forgiveness on this loan. So, so the iBank, shared with me that we can get up to $2 million in clean water upgrade money from them as a loan with forgiveness. I don't know what our lead lines are gonna cost, but this would be part of that 2 million. And then next year, I would like us to apply for the rest. And because we are a town in need, which is really the only good news about being a town in need, because it means we're in economic distress, is that we can get 100% forgiveness. So, I was talking to our municipal engineer, Terry Vogt, about this, over the weekend, and he shared with me that he is pretty sure they have the same program for sewer and the same program for PFAS, all in different pots of money. So, Megan, I reached out to Megan concurred, she thinks that's true as well. So Megan and Terry and I and Mike and Bill will all get into a conference call next week. And we're gonna figure this out so that we can get our sewer lines freaking done with 100% forgiveness. The PFAS, whatever we get in from the lawsuit, the Class A lawsuit. And Terry was sharing with me, he thinks we're gonna get about $500,000 from that. For you taking a phone call, but or an email, but nobody else may have taken. That we should be able to get all of this done, because that PFAS was like 3.5 mil. And Terry is convinced he can find us not only between the state and the settlement, but the federal government, he thinks he can find us 100% forgiveness on all of it. And if anybody can, it is Remington Vernon. So that's all really good. Like I said, it's the good news of being an economically distressed town, which is the bad news, is that we qualify. So I wanted to share that with you. I told you I get a lot here. I also, it occurred to me that Kim Tilly called me regarding Halloween candy and the Halloween program. And it occurred to me that we never formally thanked Mark Kane, and I should have invited him tonight, who's a former elected official who continues to do fireworks every year for us. And he raised pretty much the $25,000 we needed, well, 20 and 25 was we came to 5. That Jess Hand, a former councilwoman, continues to work on the community garden and in that not-for-profit. And then Kim Tilly, a former elected official, is now on CERT, and CERT and Kim are gonna take the lead on the Halloween candy. And I think it's wonderful that we have 3 former elected officials that just give their time continuing a link to this town, even though they're no longer elected. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. More good news. We received a reward, an award on Friday of $40,000 from the county freeholders, commissioners. This was their grant program where they set aside $1 million to share with as many municipalities as they could. As the 26 municipalities, it looks like maybe 25 got awards, one didn't apply, I haven't figured out who yet. They were willing to give up to 50, but because there was so much interest, the maximum award they gave was 40. And we got the maximum, and that is, Mike Campion and Bill Hans wrote that grant for the HVAC system at the police department, which is doomed to fail, according to Angela about 2 months ago. That was not part of this bid, it was not part of the scope of work. And as far as we know, it had never been checked out until Angela's team came in and looked at it this spring. So we'll have $40,000 towards that, which is a great thing. And, it's literally as soon as we get them the paperwork, they're sending us the checks. So, and then the last thing, on this very lengthy report, and I apologize, I'm usually not this long, is last year, I brought up to the council the idea of changing Main Street zoning to the traditionally retail buildings to make them all retail zoned. And I know we had a 100% concurrence in 2023 to do that. And I would have sworn on my parents' graves that we passed an ordinance so doing it. And Robin thought we did it as well. And I think Adrienne told me she thought we did it as well. And I've had 2 people on the planning board tell me they thought we did it as well, and so did Beth McManus, and we never did. So,
I saw this on the agenda and I thought we did it as well.
you thought we did it as well.
I thought, yeah, it was.
Isn't that
convinced you
crazy?
guys did it.
Yeah, we worked so hard on it and then we actually, I guess, never moved it
It
forward.
never happened.
Yeah, something
So-
interrupted our
Thank
train
you.
of thought,
So-
obviously.
I'm not sure if that mindset has changed up here, it certainly hasn't with me. I mean, Robin and I were on the phone together for quite a while at the end of last week, counting retail business, real retail. And not even restaurants, but real retail, I think we had 5. You know, in traditionally retail buildings, traditionally retail would be stores and banks. Not the Painted Ladies where like Chris Bickel's office is, but you know, everything else. Basically from Sage all the way down to the post office on one side of Main Street and maybe 8 Main Street, the little yellow office building on the other side of Main Street, right, Robins? We had 8, that's it, or 5, I'm sorry, 5, not counting restaurants, and we don't even have that many restaurants. So I would like to ask the council to let me get this tomorrow night over to the planning board for them to sit down and draft us an ordinance and get this done. What, Susan? I'm reading your face. Okay, yeah, and have them draft us the ordinance or find the ordinance that we thought we drafted. And get this going, because it's really time of the essence. We've got this hotel opening, we're gonna have apartments on Main Street. It's all about creating foot traffic and for the businesses, and there aren't any businesses. There's Ally and Dave's 2 stores, there's Peacock, there's Sage. There's
Store.
Dance. Right, that's,
It's a dance thing.
it's a dance thing,
This little gift shop down towards me, I can't.
there's a little gift shop down towards you and
The gift horse.
the gift horse, right, thank you.
The old.
There's the there's the antique store.
Antiques, there's more than you think, like, I
7
don't think
or
you
8,
can,
but
I don't think
right.
you can.
But in between all of that, there's no continuity except a little tiny triangle between Peacock and the Norton's 2 stores. I mean, there's really nothing. So, you know, it's a tremendous amount of offices and it's a tremendous amount of services and very, very little traditional retail. And it's gonna take, I remember having this conversation with the former acting clerk, Mike Humphrey, who said we did this in Clinton and it took 24 years for our little Main Street to get to be 100% retail. And that was in 2023. So this isn't something that happens overnight, so the sooner we can implement it, especially with all these empty businesses, the sooner it's gonna happen.
So this is not the ordinance that's on the agenda tonight, right? This is
The zoning map.
No, the ordinance
This
that's on
one's
the
for-
agenda is for the historical district being
See, I thought
expanded.
we had moved forward.
So-
No, this is a much more complicated issue because you wanna capture traditionally retail buildings and not,
Wait,
In-
no, the ordinance on the agenda tonight is not, that's not for the historical district, right?
no, the ordinance on the agenda tonight should be where are we? What's the number?
It's the last
2014.
page. The last page.
This is to remove things from the PO district. From the district.
We had done all that work in committee.
I thought, this is what I thought we had already done a while
Yeah,
ago.
me too.
Yeah.
We had done all that work in committee last year.
Where are you guys at? I have an introduction of an ordinance amending section 2611 of the code entitled zoning. That's the historic map. That's the expansion of the historic map that the planning board just sent us. I thought. So,
That was the one where we were removing the PO, and so I think we're getting the two,
Commercial.
yeah. I think we're getting the two confused, or perhaps we posted the wrong one.
Which one are we looking, resolution 2024 dash, which one?
this is the problem.
This one that's on
It's
page.
the last page, yeah.
That's the problem.
2024-19 for.
Proposal titled zoning map,
Yeah.
that one I thought was historic.
Get rid of the.
I think
Wrong
that the
overlap.
wrong, and maybe the wrong exhibit was posted, that's. Because I agree with Trent,
And this is
I
what we
looked at
thought
that
was
and said,
done.
we thought, we did this last.
So
year.
this is the one, this is a totally different one than the retail one.
Yeah,
This is, okay, so when this was
And you're
going
talking
back,
about DB.
right,
one and-
this, so when this was going back, between Chris Corsini, Beth McManus, our planner, Carla, Connor, our clerk, and me, trying to find the retail only ordinance. Beth discovered this one was never finalized.
Okay, so we never actually did that.
So this one, right, this one was approved by the planning board, written by the planning board, sent to us by the planning board. And we never introduced it, and we never acted on changing, I'm pretty sure that's this one.
And is this from June? It says at the bottom, June 20th.
2023.
Oh,
we
this
did
is
this last
last
year
year.
in
last
committee
year,
and approved it in planning board last year,
and we're introducing this tonight.
because it was
Yeah,
never.
it was
approved.
never done. So what I would suggest is we move this one forward, we have questions, we'll have Beth here at the next meeting to answer the questions, because, but this was, yeah, this came in from them as part of the subcommittee they did.
Yeah, we worked hard on this.
But the retail only never did.
The retail on the first floor only.
Yes,
We never moved that at all.
correct,
Right, so the current zone allows for whatever.
correct, for whatever, right.
And I mean, we did talk, I don't wanna go into a lot of detail, we did talk a lot in the subcommittee about how we are not Clinton, and that we're not 2 blocks, and we're not that dense, and the painted ladies are spread out, we've got
Right.
half a mile of retail, so we do need to think about that first floor
Right.
thing a little differently than
Right,
you would if you were Lambertville or Clinton, cause I don't necessarily like saying we need to be like them, or
well, they have,
them, we are
yeah,
us,
they have
you
way
know?
much more retail than
Yeah,
that, but.
I'm just saying, we do need to make, I
Yeah,
would
way
like
less
the
than
planning board to
Somerville,
look at
way
that.
more
one.
than Clinton.
I'm just thinking as an apartment dweller, and for me, it wasn't that long ago, we're gonna have all these apartments in on Main Street. People are gonna wanna walk downstairs, get a cup of coffee, go to a place, they're gonna wanna stay around the town.
And when people shop, they wanna shop continuously.
Yeah,
They don't wanna go to one store and then have to walk through past 7 services to get to another, store. They're gonna stop.
and that's why our town looks down on Saturday afternoon.
Exactly, exactly. All right,
So,
I'm gonna bring this over to the planning board tomorrow night and ask them to put it back into the subcommittee, take a look at this. And then, we'll have Beth here hopefully at the next meeting to answer any questions about this one, because we have some new members that weren't here last year. I don't know how this fell off, except, based on the date, Carla started in July. Mike Humphrey left us at
There's
the
a
end of
lot
May.
going on, I think.
And I think this fell off of
Fell off
radar
the radar.
screen because we didn't have a clerk.
okay.
Okay, so that's all I can say is that at least talking about this one thing solved another issue that was quite upset about. I can share with you that. We just
Now we know what it is.
right, exactly. And that is the end of my very lengthy report. So I'm gonna start at the top of the list. Susan, Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yeah. So I'm glad to see Liz is back, I was just gonna mention that she was actually off there.
I was hearing the whole thing. I just wasn't a panelist. I had an internet issue. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay, the Samuel Fleming House, this Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. has their Apples and Spice in Colonial America event, so please come by and join us for that. On September 12th at 7 p.m. JP Case has their next the K-12 district, the Flemington Raritan School District has their Board of Ed meeting at J.P. Case Middle School. And on September 23rd, at 7 p.m. in the IMC building, the 100 Central High School District has their Board of Ed meeting. And then finally, I got to stop by the Police Explorers versus police kickball game yesterday, and I just wanted to thank everybody for supporting them, and I think you can still donate to the Police Explorers even if you didn't make it there. But I've gone to it 2 years now, and it's a lot of fun to watch, and I won't identify which police officer missed missed their tag at one point. Thank you for supporting them. It's fun to watch.
Great, that it?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Fasaro.
The only thing that I wanted to bring to the council tonight is, first of all, you will see the ordinance expanding the historic district. That, and to be very clear, because I have had feedback that's been very positive from the community regarding my comments at the last planning board meeting. And promises I made when speaking with people last year is that we would not expand while I'm on this council our historic district to the whole borough. What we're going to be voting on tonight is for what was missed in 1980. And that's it. That's all we're doing. And if there are any members of the community that still have any concerns, please reach out to me. And I would like to thank you for your support on that. And that's it.
Thank you.
This evening.
Councilman Levitt.
I can say half my stuff has already been taken, but yeah, schools have reopened for the year, and as always, please be mindful of the many students who walk to and from school at Rufus and Central. 100 Central has a new superintendent, Jessica Pangalosi Hayde. At the last HPC meeting, we approved 3 applications. And unfortunately, I didn't make it to the joint planning board and HPC meeting, but like Adrian said, it seemed like it went very well. And the planning board approved the changes to the historic map with one very minor edit, and I guess that'll be coming over to us soon. And lastly, as another reminder, the rabies clinic will be held November 2nd from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the firehouse, or here at Borough Hall. More information can be found on the borough website, and that's it.
Thank you, Councilman. Council President Long.
Yeah, I have a ton of stuff, but I'm gonna keep it tight. I have a lot of reports. So OEM, as we enter September, OEM proudly joins the nationwide observance of Emergency Preparedness Month. It's a vital opportunity for all residents to take proactive steps to ensure their homes and families and neighborhoods are ready to face a potential emergency. And as has been reported in the past, it's important that you make a plan, family emergency plan. You want to build an emergency kit, essential supplies, food, water, medications, a first aid kit is paramount. Stay informed, sign up for the alerts, and local authorities will follow trusted sources for up-to-date information. Our local emergency response teams, including Flemington CERT, and our first responders are committed to safeguarding the community. Let's work together to ensure that they are all prepared and resilient in the face of any challenges. This past weekend, Flemington Office of Emergency Management and the Community Emergency Response Team played a critical role in assisting with 100 Helpline Salsa Night. Through careful planning and on-site support, teams ensure the safety and smooth operation. CERT members helped throughout the evening, particularly by facilitating safe pedestrian crossing at key intersections. Their presence was invaluable in managing foot traffic and ensuring that attendees could enjoy the event without concern. In total, the dedicated OEM and CERT volunteers logged an impressive 32 volunteer hours in support of the weekend's event. We just want to be appreciative of that team and their work. Fire department, won't get into too many of the details, but there were 31 incidents in August. And I'll skip the numbers, but we had just a quick, we had 4 gas leaks. We had an electrical short. There was an accident, motor vehicle accident with no injuries. Just to name a few. And tomorrow night's fire department's monthly meeting, I'll be there. Rescue squad, I have a ton of numbers, but just to give you all a sense of how very busy that squad is. which you'll recall, we share that service with, Raritan Township. They responded to 277 emergency calls in the month of August alone, bringing the year-to-date total calls to 2,282, which is, according to the director, 5.1% higher than the same period in 2023. 52 calls in Flemington Borough. Again, this is August. 196 in Raritan because we spread the help. Delaware Township, East Amwell, City of Lambertville, West Amwell, Franklin Township, and Alexandria Township all had at least one or two services provided. East Amwell had 13, Delaware had 11. Let's see, again, there's a lot of numbers. Our squad, August also saw participation in the Lowe's Public Safety Day. They provided an ambulance for EMS standby at the Hunter County 4-H Fair in East Amwell. The rescue services unit completed 2 drills during August: water rescue and confined space rescue. 4 members also completed 32-hour rope rescue operations. High Eagle class rescue squad members participated in a walkthrough of the new courthouse square development in Flemington Borough, along with police department, along with the fire department, fire marshal. 3 rescue squad members were deployed by FEMA with New Jersey Urban Search and Rescue Task Force 1 to North Carolina in response to Hurricane Debbie. We have some reach. And that is my report.
Can you tell, what was that total number for the rescue squad? 201?
For August?
Yeah.
277.
277, and we were 52,
52.
so we're 5th, right? 5th of their calls. Okay, thank you. All right, Councilman Parker, welcome home. Your report.
Thank you. Yeah, welcome home, right? Welcome home and welcome COVID, right? So I don't have a lot to talk about because I've been away for the last 10 days, but I do want to focus a little bit on the police department because I think there's some good stuff that's going on there, and I just want to report on a couple of things. One of which I'm going to leave for Jerry to talk about. I'm going to hold that until our next meeting and have Jerry come in and talk because I think he's done a tremendous job at getting this up and running. What I will talk about are the arrests that have been made, and that's been like 5 DWI arrests, 6 contempt of court warrants, 1 receiving stolen good property, 1 fugitive from justice warrant, 1 eluding from motor vehicle stop, and 1 simple assault. So there's been 15 arrests in a month. You know, that's just, again, let's just hope that number doesn't go up, and it's okay. I mean, we want it to go down. We're hoping it doesn't go up. But there also have been a lot of investigation: 10 harassment complaints, 2 thefts, 5 DWI investigations, 1 eluding contempt, 1 missing person, 2 attempt to commit credit card fraud, and 1 simple assault. Again, those are, I mean, you know, it just raises concern about we're having so many investigations, especially with the harassment complaints. That brings some concern there. One of the things I've always talked about is community police, and I will continue to talk about it, always talk about it. I just think it's really important. And that's that the chief has done a remarkable job bringing that to fruition. So much so that I don't want to steal his thunder. I think that's something that I want him to come in and talk about because I think he deserves some accolades for getting this off the ground. But he and his team have scheduled a lot of community outreach events from September through November. So I'll let him come in the next time to talk about it. The other thing that I do want to address, one of the concerns was on the number of speeders that go through the borough. And Matt, again, the chief has focused on that, and he put Brian McNally on it to lead this study. They did a complete study, which is just a remarkable thing that they did. And so I'm going to just give Brian like a couple of minutes to go over where we need to concentrate on. And as far as what we're going to do about it, the chief and I talked later this afternoon, and he's got a plan. And again, I'll let him present that to you guys. So Brian, do you want to just kind of explain a little bit about what you did on the traffic study?
Sure can, Councilman, no problem. So we went back and looked and said, where are the major, speeding complaints that we're hearing from you folks, from other people in the community? And we identified Bunnell Street, Park Avenue, Broad Street, and Mine Street, okay? So, through our, speed monitoring signs that we've purchased over the last 11 years. We're able to put those out, do extended speed summary reports, volume by speed analysis. This is stuff we've had for years. It just depends on who wants to use it and who's interested in the data, right? So I'm the certified operator for that. I went out and we conducted these speed surveys. So what we found, Bunnell Street, we did a 22-day speed survey on Bunnell Street. The average vehicle speed on the roadway was 18.29 miles per hour with 6,163 vehicles traveling.
Time 25 mile per hour.
A 25 mile per hour road. Yep, so 18.29 miles per hour, 200 vehicles per day traveling there. The data basically indicates that with the average speed on Bunnell Street, it's in with the acceptable limits, which suggests good speed compliance among the drivers. Park Avenue, on the other hand, we did a 10-day study there. Average speed is 26.47 miles per hour, 24,000 vehicles traveling in that 10-day span. Comes out to about 2,777 vehicles per day. That's only traveling northbound out of town, right? So that's not catching the other way. We're gonna flip the machine around and do the speed study the other direction. So maximum speed recorded during peak travel times. Now remember, you have a large sample size, 25,000 vehicles, right? So your speed compliance is there, but we do have peak travel times 48 miles per hour during 8 p.m. to 4 p.m. So that's where we're seeing those higher speeds on Park Avenue.
PM.
I'm sorry, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. My
8
apologies.
AM. to
Yep, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So the higher average speed on Park Avenue indicates need for increased speed enforcement during those peak hours, right? So that's where we're going to increase traffic enforcement and radar enforcement during those times. So what's nice.
Daddy said you could park in her driveway.
Yeah, we can do that too. Broad Street, I know there's been a lot of talk about Broad Street. We've done 2 separate studies there. But what we found, and Councilman Parker and I discussed it today. We believe that the stop signs at William have been very effective in the speed slowing. The average speed for Park Avenue during
Broad Street.
I'm sorry, for Broad Street during that 11 day period, 16.56 miles per hour. But total vehicles traveling Broad Street, 24,500. That's how many vehicles traveling down the road.
How many per day is it?
24,594.
Did you say the average speed down Broad Street is 16 miles per
Between
hour?
16.56 miles per hour between
The traffic light.
Maple
Okay.
and Pennsylvania.
So if you have people that consistently drive 18 miles an hour everywhere in the borough, I don't know who these people are. Will they, I'm one of them. I always drive a little bit slower. Does that bring it down? Like,
Right, so it's based on the amount of vehicles, right?
Okay.
So, but what I will show you, so like this is a Broad Street report,
Yeah.
right? So over glaring, the yellow is within threshold, meaning under 10 miles per hour over. The green is 25 miles an hour or under, right? Now, when we look at let's see, well, we'll get to one, but so Park Avenue, right, your threshold vehicles are in the yellow, so that's how many more are going over. So that's 25 to 35 is yellow.
Even though we have 2 full stops on Park Avenue,
Correct.
There's
Is
some
it-
suggestions.
and then the stretch from,
This is the stretch from Katner to Walter Ferrand.
yeah, where there's no stops.
Correct.
And I wanted to bring that up because if you look at Bunnell, you have the traffic.
And you have cars
speed-
parked on both sides of the
Speed
road.
calming elements. Yeah, yeah.
Right, they are
Cars
effective.
down.
They're showing effect. So
But
When
Park
you-
Avenue like, I'm not speaking from any experience at all, from driving.
But
Oak
Park
Public
Avenue
Road.
Park Avenue and Mine Street, I think, which mine is gonna show similar or worse, is they only have parking on one side of the street, so it's got more of an open. Right where Broad Street, we've got 1 million people who park on both sides of the street. And Bunnell Street, 1 million people park on both sides of the street, it makes it claustrophobic, it's hard to speed. Tell us Mine Street, because this is my bane.
So,
However, let me just say this. Prior to those stop signs getting in and prior to the 25 mph, whatever, there was a lot of speeding going down Broad Street. There were a lot of speeding going down. because I can see-
Nothing, like, you know, they about that, always stop, yeah.
So now with the, from the light to the first stop sign, there's not time to press the pedal to the metal, right? So, that stop sign at Williams and Broad, all of that really worked to make that, I talked to Derek, we talked about this afternoon, that all of that's really helped with just, you don't see the type of speed that you see, that I saw last year this time, for instance.
Yeah, agreed,
6 months ago.
agreed, okay, tell us about mine.
So Mine Street, obviously, you're gonna, what you're expecting is going to happen. So Mine Street's identified as the highest concern for speeds within the borough. So in the 30-day sample size we did, 80,000 vehicles traveling that roadway. This is simply going out of town.
Right, there are
Okay,
kids,
so 80,000 going to the divorce circle.
Right,
Okay, in the 30-day period. So, good news is the average speed is 26 miles per hour, okay? The issue is your tolerance range. This is a Mine Street report, okay? A lot of yellow and a whole lot of red or at the top, right? So that red is meaning it's out of tolerance, which means it's 10 plus miles per hour over the speed limit. So I'll just tell you now in the event, I know Councilman Parker's seen this report, that if any of you wanted to see, I'll show it to you. There are some high speeds on here.
what's the worst speeds?
Well,
That's a record.
so the record, I believe, is a radar glitch, and I'll explain
And
that
I'm
to you in a
gonna say
moment. The
not-
record is 78 miles per hour.
No, is that counting out of just jurisdiction police departments?
Well, that's right. So I believe, so based on the volume by speed report, the 78 miles per hour is most likely what we call radar batching. If you have one large vehicle and a smaller vehicle traveling very closely together, it combines their speeds. So there's only one instance of that, so.
Let's
for-
forget that.
That I believe is. But that being said, there are a bunch of 50+ mile per hour
Wow.
speeds within there. So what I did is this creates an enforcement priorities report for the officers. It tells me the days of the week, the times and the days of the week when we have the most violators, so that they can target those enforcement periods. So specifically Friday nights between 5 and 6 p.m., the average number of violators traveling over 35 miles per hour is 16. Okay, then Tuesday afternoons between 4 and 5, 14 violators traveling over 37 miles per hour.
Dropping people off at CCD.
Right, so we can take this now and kind of take this report and give the officers specific times that are of value, right, of their value to sit out there to do the enforcements. So that's what's really great about this technology that we invested in years ago.
Well, I know that the police are working harder because I've had 6 phone calls from personal friends of mine who've all gotten tickets in Flemington. Four from Oregon Township, 1 for Delaware, and I'm not sure the other municipality, but I'm like, oh, wow. They said the police were very professional and very kind, and they all got tickets. And I'm like, good. That was my comment to my friends, good. So.
But if anybody wants more detail on these, wants to review them with me, I'd be happy to sit down with you and unpack them.
At the end of the day, Jerry has, the chief has a plan on how he's gonna mitigate this for both Park and Mine Street. So, again, he doesn't want to give too much out in public, right? Because they've got some things going on. So just know that he's got a plan to make
Got a
it.
quick question. So when you recorded all that data, that was when the signs were up showing the speeds that the cars were going, right?
Correct.
Is there any way to collect that data without the sign flashing in their face? Because I suspect the speeding problem was actually probably worse than what's showing on
Yeah.
the paper, because everyone sees their speed and slows down before they get up there.
Correct, so, you know, at this point, we're gonna take, those two targeted areas right now. Do enforcement there, and then what we'll do is we will move those signs the other direction. And we'll actually shut the speed, view down off it and just let it sit there and collect
And
data.
see what happens then.
Yeah,
Great,
so
sounds
what
good.
I like to do, Liz, is we'll do 10 days off, 10 days on, and then we can do a
You can
summary.
compare everything. Great.
Can I ask you when it starts recording a car, right? Like I see that sign, I'm going 55 miles an hour down Main Street, and I
Right.
realize, oh gosh, there's a sign.
Right.
Let's slow down to 25.
Right.
At what point is the data collected?
Top speed.
Top speed.
Top speed. Yep.
Also, I'd be very interested in seeing whatever data you have. on
Sure,
this.
yeah. No worries, we can do that.
Thank you. Anything else, Councilman Parker?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tell Scott, we hope he feels better.
Thanks.
Hope you don't get it.
Yeah, really.
Zeddy,
Thanks. Wow, that was a lot. All I have is we have a shade tree meeting this Wednesday. So the 11th, 7 p.m. In Borough Hall and on Zoom. That's it.
great, thank you very much. All right, we're at public comment session number 1. Anybody from the public? Is that the public up there? Lauren?
Yeah, that is, it's, only person up is Mark Herbert.
Okay. Anybody from the public on screen, if they have a comment for the council, raise their hand on screen. Or here in the room, just come up to the microphones. Oh, she made a noise too. 35 minutes wasn't enough. No,
Okay, really quickly.
It's okay.
The Central Jersey Jazz Fest is this Saturday. The weather will be spectacular. It's on Stangle Road and we welcome the public to come and.
Are tickets required for that?
No,
The ad is very misleading. About
Well-
having a ticket.
we encourage people to get free tickets. And then we will enter you to win a free T-shirt. And that way, if we have to go to a cancellation or
We have access to
update
the
or
emails, yeah,
we
yeah.
can communicate with you, so. So that's that, however, we also have tables available for I think it's $15 for. You know, a couple chairs and a table. Because not everybody wants to drag a chair or a table, you know, a chair or a blanket with them, so we make it possible for you to get a table at the event. And we put the general public and VIP next to each other, so we call them VIP tables, but everybody's, if you get there early enough, you can be up front. VIP or not VIP, free. But anyway, we have great talent. I mean, we really have spectacular talent, and for us not to be on everybody's talking list for what to do this weekend is something our marketing agency will help us with in the future. I also want you to know that we did publish a bunch of the circus returns to Flemington, and we have posters and these will be in store windows, and the postcards will be available at the historic courthouse. Beyond
The
that,
first 3 lectures were really successful. The first one had 55 people, the second one had 65 plus. The third one had over 100, including people from New York State that came in. Had ate at the Shaker Cafe and
fantastic,
yeah, so
that's
it's
great.
it's
And-
yeah,
and
and that's, you know, and we mentioned the state police are already up to almost 50 people, so go to the state police meet and greet, the walking tour is full, and everybody's saying do this again next year. The next 3 lectures are the biggies. I mean, these were great lectures. But the next 3 are the ones that will really pack people in.
Fantastic.
We're expecting 200 people at the last lecture.
It's
Everybody's
exciting stuff, and we did request Court Street Park for our kids' Halloween extravaganza, thinking that we wanna start making the park feel more like a part of Main Street. So we're looking forward to that. That will be on a Sunday this year. And
That'd be fun to decorate too, Rob.
yes, and we want everyone to, we want the Society of Neighbors, we want all the neighbors, we want the council, we want everybody to help us decorate, and we're hoping that someday we can have a really great, like, lit pumpkin event in that park where it's, you know, we set up, we go to local farms and bring in pumpkins and make it something that people can walk through and, you know, just stroll through and enjoy. So we have the Witch Walk, and the Moon Market that Friday of Halloween weekend, and then we'll decorate the park for the whole weekend, and then have our,
What day of the week is Halloween on this year?
it's on Thursday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
So is it the Friday before?
Yeah, this is the
witch-
weekend before,
Okay,
yes. The
okay.
Friday night is the Witch Walk on Stangle.
Sunday the 27th.
Yeah, the
Thank
park
you.
will be decorated for the whole weekend, so people can come to Main Street and then stroll through the park. And then Sunday is the kids' dance party costume contest.
On 27?
We're thinking 1 to 5.
Okay.
Yes, and then
That's great.
last, I wanted to say that, I think that with the mayor found a wonderful incentive, which we'll get into, we can talk about in more detail, but when we were saying, it's very hard if you have, you know, a full dentist.
Oh, I
suite.
should really brief the council on that. It should
Yeah,
have been on the
okay.
report, but it wasn't.
Well, anyway, well, we don't have to talk about it now, but you know, for people who are transitioning from office, including spaces that are really built out for some other thing other than retail. I asked if there were some incentives, and the mayor found a good one, and we can talk about that.
I know, actually, I think they should know tonight, so,
Okay,
I don't know if all of the council members are aware that the borough, for I don't even know how long, well over a decade, maybe 20 years, we've had an abatement program that is under state statute. It allows for this where, if Council President Long does, replaces, you know, actually improves, has to be an improvement, adds an addition to his back house. And, his taxes can be frozen as if that never happened for 5 years. So it has to be a capital improvement. So I redid my kitchen in 2018. I had our tax assessor come over, he looked at my old kitchen, we talked about, this really happened, we talked about what I was gonna do. It did not exceed 50,000. He put a resolution into the council that he wrote approving my improvement. And when all that work was done, I had a 5-year tax freeze on just the improvement, as if I had never redone my kitchen. And that came off the tax rolls last year, and I got hit this year with the improvement. I can now put in for another one because I used it up, it's over, it's done. So you can do this, you can do your patio as long as it's like it's gotta be an improvement, it's not a replacement. Like maybe going from a regular roof to a slate roof might make it, because I talked to our tax assessor about that. But this is putting in a swimming pool, putting up a fence, if it's an improvement, redoing fully redoing, putting in a brand new, gutting a bathroom and putting in a new bathroom, gutting your kitchen and doing a new kitchen. Any of those things are improvements. This has been on our books for years, and a lot of residents don't know it. So I called him after talking to Robin about the retail on the first floor. We also started talking about the Painted Ladies and trying to get these rentals back to 1 or 2 apartments from 3 or 4, or in some cases 7. And I called our assessor about this, and he said to me, "You've had a retail abatement program on the books since you put on the original abatement program." Now, this is total news to me. He told me it has not one retail business has filed for this since 2018. So it dropped off the radar with the last administration and Robin's predecessor. Because up until then, he told me we were having 2 to 3 businesses a year apply who were creating a kitchen, who were doing extensive inside work. So I immediately called Susan Peterson T. Berry to let her know about this. Robin immediately called Aunt Millie's to let them know about it. She's spreading the word to all the other businesses. And here's the kicker about the retail businesses. They don't have a $50,000 limit. They have no limit, none, zero. They can do $500,000 worth of improvements and their taxes will be frozen and abated for 5 years. But in the meantime, let's say somebody needs to put in 3 stories of sprinkler and they only have the money for 1. They put it in, they get the tax abatement on that first phase. Next year, they can put in for more. So they don't have the same requirement that residential has that has
They
in
don't
our
have a
law.
5-year rolling.
They have a 5-year
requirement.
rolling, but it's endless.
Right,
Because
that's what I
their dollar amount is
I understand.
endless. So they could do $100,000 worth of improvements this year and come back next year and do $200,000.
We know that Aunt Millie's is going to have a lot of capital improvements.
Right, and so this hopefully will help them because their taxes will be frozen as if they didn't do anything for 5 years. And like I said, they can do, they can do what they need to do. I mean, Susan Pearson may do, 1 floor now and open up other dining in the future, not sure. I mean, her holdup is that she didn't know she needed a sprinkler system. It wasn't designed. She had architectural permits, water line, the whole 9 yards. So that's her holdup, but but this is like all news to me. I didn't even know because I don't do retail, right? I don't have a store in town. I knew about the residential abatement program because I'm a resident here. But like I said, Ed told me it's dropped off everybody's radar screen. And we need to, and Robin is gonna push it like crazy because this is a huge, like the Mikasa
It's an
building.
incentive.
It's a huge incentive for like the Mikasa building to do their improvements.
Probably dropped off the radar because of COVID, because people.
No, it was before COVID.
I think people probably forgot about it during that time.
Transition and COVID.
So can
Yeah.
beyond this.
And Shaker and Printech is empty, he's, who knows what'll go in there, but whatever it is, I mean, he put up lots of walls when he built Printech.
Yeah,
So those walls were
Well-
never there before, right? So,
and ripping out, like I said, ripping out of, a 10-chair dentist office is almost prohibitive for some of the older buildings that we have that
Right.
are fully meshed out for one thing, and to turn that into retail requires a lot of changes.
so, what I- yeah, go ahead.
So on the FCP end, you're gonna do some serious advertising,
Yes.
right?
We
But
will.
on our end, can we advertise?
I'm gonna do a thing for the newsletter on it.
Okay.
Great
I'm
idea.
gonna do something in the newsletter for both residents and for businesses, because one of the questions I asked Ed was, okay, so we know about retail, we know about the retail, we know about the residential $50,000 for the capital improvements. What about these apartments, these painted apartment buildings, if somebody wants to go back to a single family home? Can we get a larger abatement for them, say $100,000 for each apartment? You lose an apartment, you get $100,000 abatement. He's calling the state, there's a guy at the state who it's his department, his specialty. So he's exploring this for us to see if we can incentivize that as well.
It should be noted that in the master plan, there's also an encouragement to transfer some of the, as you call them, painted ladies that have been broken up into either business or back into residential, not even single family, but just like if it's an office building now, converting it to a single family home or residential in general is in the master plan as a encouragement. So we put it in years ago.
But there's no way, so anyway, I'm waiting to hear from Ed, thank you for reminding me about that, Robin. Okay, so no comments from the public, so other than Robin, thank you, Robin. Approval of minutes, we have regular session July 15, 2024, can I have a motion,
Long move.
is there a second?
Sorry, second.
All in favor, right, Chris, I can do all in favor on minutes,
Yes.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Executive session July 15, 2024, can I have a motion,
Long move.
is there a second?
Sorry, second.
And all in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Anything?
I abstain.
That's one extension from Councilwoman Engelhardt. We're not here. Regular session August 12, 2024, can I have a motion? Is
Long move.
there a second?
Sorry, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 or abstentions? Okay, executive session August 12th, 2024.
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Sarah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions or abstentions? Okay, thank you. Moving on. The consent agenda, we have resolution 2024-122. Resolution authorizing the release of the performance bond to LMR Disposal Services LLC due to assignment of the solid waste collection and disposal service contract to Casella Major Account Services. Number 2, resolution 2024-123, resolution approving Catherine Abarca, become social member of the Flemington Borough Fire Department. Number 3, resolution 2024-124, resolution approving Olivia Mitchell to become a junior member of the Flemington Borough Fire Department. Resolution 2024-125, resolution approving Gerald Malik to become a social member of the Flemington Borough Fire Department. Resolution 2024-126, a resolution approving participation with the state of New Jersey federal grant program administered by the Division of Criminal Justice, Department of Law and Public Safety. Resolution 6, resolution 2024-127, resolution accepting the resignation of Anna Palma. Does anybody want any of these off consent for a separate vote? Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Pissarro?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council President Long?
Yes.
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
Council Vice President Rosetti?
Yes.
And that's everyone.
Thank you. Item 11, introduction of ordinance 2024-19, and ordinance amending section 2611 of the code entitled zoning map, which we thought we did a year plus ago. Can I have a motion to introduce?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Sarah, second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Pissarro?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council President Long?
Yes.
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
Council Vice President Rosetti?
Yes.
That's everyone.
Thank you. Public hearing to be held on September 24th,
The planner's gonna be.
and I'm gonna ask our planner to either zoom in or show up. Yes. God bless. Item 8, ordinance 2024-20, bond ordinance amending in part bond ordinance number 2023-34 adopted on December 11, 2022, providing for the Main Street sewer replacement project and appropriating $1.4 million therefore, and authorizing issuance of $1.4 million bond and notes to finance a portion of the cost thereof in order to expand the scope of improvements to include the locating, removal, and replacement of galvanized pipes authorized in and by the Borough of Flemington in the County of Hunterdon. Again, this gets us that extra money through the iBank to do the galvanized pipes on Main Street, of which we're expecting 100% forgiveness. Can I have a motion to introduce?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Sarah, second.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
That was, okay.
That was Councilwoman Engelhardt. Who
Right,
seconded it?
who's seconding?
Councilwoman
Just
Engelhardt.
we gotta be clear for parlance.
Yes, Councilwoman Engelhardt seconded it.
Okay, Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pissarro,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council President Long,
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Council Vice President Rosetti. Yes,
All right. Public hearing to be held on 9/24 as well. We're doing public hearings tonight. Under the regular agenda, this resolution 2024-128. We do not have a resolution from the Library Commission. All we have is a phone call or an email to our CFO from the director of the library asking to promote this person. I did email the chair of the Library Commission last week on behalf of liaison to the library, Councilwoman Pissarro, to sit down and talk these personnel issues out about, what's happening over there. I've not heard back from her. They are commissioned. We should have a resolution from the commission. Shouldn't we, Chris? I mean,
For resignation.
no, for appointing a person full-time. Based on just the director. I mean, I don't know what the commission's authorized. We don't have a resolution from the commission.
I don't think you need to do it by resolution.
You don't think what we
I
need?
don't think that a person needs to be hired by resolution. That's right. But I would need more information. I don't, this is a lot.
This is library.
Right, I did not authorize this to come on the agenda. This surprised me when I saw it on the agenda.
From our time together in Middlesex, I don't think a lot of this stuff needs to be done. So a resolution, you can do it, doesn't hurt. But as a strict matter.
I'm just saying, shouldn't the library commission send us a resolution asking us to hire her
I'd have
full
to do
time?
it via email.
by the director, who's an employee of the commission. That's my problem here, is that we don't have the authorization of the commission. We have the director telling our CFO, hire her. I don't know.
So
where
the reason I hesitate, Mayor, is because I just don't know, I've never seen them incorporating documents, well,
Yeah.
what their rules are.
And this is with all due respect, the
You-
library, the
you- you-
library
you-
commission
independent
is
local library.
excellent, I have no problem with that, but I don't know if they've authorized this or not.
Yeah, I think that certainly due diligence, Mayor, would require some sort of.
Well, I tried, so you,
How
Yeah,
about I try now, keep trying.
well, I gotta hear from them.
library
I
anyway.
mean, I would really
So-
look to past practice here, Mayor, however they've done in the past.
But that's the thing, we haven't had a lot of liaison interaction between the council. and the
But, so they've
library
never
past.
transmitted any sort of.
Well, the prior councilman who left council last year was a
Oh.
liaison for a couple of years, so.
Yes, you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really a strictly a legal issue, Mayor, I think it's more just. Not past practice, which is not gonna help you here, right, cause I mean,
Right, we don't know.
Adrian's
So
doing the
what's-
job, so.
What's the best way to go about this then? Because I come from a corporate
Yeah,
environment, that
I don't
every
know,
I is
I'm
dotted,
not
T is
sure.
crossed.
Right,
Are we approving something against your freestanding budget, which is wonderful?
So the.
she's,
But
I
there's
think
still
she's a
full-time
replacement,
employee.
I think she's a replacement because she's a full-time employee retiring.
And
This is a part-time employee that the director wants to bring into the full-time position. Again, our library commission board is excellent, they're excellent, I have no problem with any of them, it's just a matter of procedure and protocol and whether or not.
Yeah,
They-
I chaired the Summers County Library Commission for several years and the director's hired.
Can I just
The
mention one thing?
They just hire, okay, so we
Except
don't,
Yeah, wait,
for
wait,
management staff, I think that
okay, so.
the bylaws said we had to say it, but that's why I hesitate because I haven't seen what their bylaws
Okay,
say.
so
Do we have a second meeting this month?
Yeah, we do,
This has to be done effective October first, so it sounds like we have time for the next meeting,
okay.
right?
Thank you for reading.
And this is the replacement for Mrs. Moore who's retired.
That's correct,
Okay, that's what I.
That's
I want to see their bylaws, if they have them, we maybe should, right?
okay, so we're gonna table this, and this isn't disparaging to this employee or anybody else, they're all wonderful, it's just a matter of what the procedure should be in place and whether or not this is. I just don't know, and it's like, for me, it's like,
It typically, unless the governing document requires, and this is true in municipality too, or the statute, I would not require a resolution like this.
okay, well, we'll table it,
But I would want to.
Yeah,
That's
let's table
what
it
I
for
mean.
next meeting. It's- Councilman Levitt saw the letter and said we have until October first, we have time. So this is tabled till September 24th. And hopefully we can get some, are you getting bylaws to that, or?
I've got my last.
Okay,
So they do have, you have.
Yes,
There's
there
some-
should be, yes.
Okay, good, I'll take a look.
Great, thank you. All right, next is resolution 2024-129 rejecting all bids for the roadway improvement project for Moon Street pursuant to NJSA 48:11-13-13.2 Unfortunately, the Main Street project went out to bid. And we got a terrific low bid from Revax, who also was the winner, if you all remember, on Bluefield Avenue. And then Revax didn't put in necessary required paperwork to the state of New Jersey on Bluefield, and we had to rebid it again. Well, he did the same thing on Main Street. They didn't file the necessary state required paperwork that they had 5 days statutorily to file. So the state of New Jersey requires us to reject all the bids, and we're gonna have to go out for bid again. And Bluefield Avenue, I believe Revax lowered their bid by, I don't know, I wanna say $6,000 to $8,000, so maybe they'll lower their bid again.
I mean,
Like,
paving, I paved a lot of roads in Bridgewater, other towns are working, I mean. It was a very advantageous bid for the borough, it's a real shame to have to,
Rejected, I
I
know,
reviewed the documents that sent to me, by Rob Martucci, and the state was not ambiguous, unfortunately.
oh no, not at all, it was the same thing. with
I wish
Bluefield.
they had been,
It's the
um,
exact same document that they missed
and
on Bluefield.
Mayor, you and I had a long discussion about this, you know. Timing that you pave in a year is just so critical,
Right.
I mean, it's
Well,
so critical.
Now,
The
it's that-
CPW and,
Not just for education, Councilwoman Edgar, but for pricing. You
Yeah,
know, so,
yeah, yeah.
it's a real shame, I didn't know about it
The
until Rob.
plants are gonna close in a few weeks.
Yeah,
I don't think
Susan
so,
knows.
they stayed open last year.
It was a mild winter. but
Yeah.
But
They stayed open.
once October hits,
I know.
it's a hit or miss.
We'll see,
I told you
so,
on my last project in another town, I'm sweating and you guys aren't,
I know.
so it's
I
an
know.
extreme.
Well, I know,
So it's-
William Street bids are opening October first, and Mine Street bids are opening up sometime in October too, so.
Were they the only bids and was the
For-
second
But
highest?
those are RV projects, no, there were several bids, and
We
Was
might be able
anybody
to
even
take-
close?
So they weren't close, top line was next, but this was a very odd, the state. Didn't give us the discretion to move to the second bid, not that I would have suggested it, it was weird, it was odd, this came to be all wrapped up too, Rob was.
but they did the same
basically-
thing on Bluefield, they.
Yeah, it was weird, the
discretion
state
to
has,
cross it,
as
yeah.
you know, because I think of the nature of the documentation that was missing. I think the state has authority here, right? I went back over this and I was,
Yeah.
but top line was like, give it to him, $150,000.
More.
Yeah, it was.
More.
was-
That was
And,
So I'm gonna get close, I went
Yeah.
harder.
the highway was like $400,000, so,
But yeah, it was,
That's what I asked.
no,
I saw it in pieces.
it was just crazy that they've done that twice plus now,
Yeah.
like twice.
And I pay with rebacks a lot in my other towns and I've never had that problem, it's something a snake bit, cause I've never had a problem with rebacks. In terms of that kind of compliance in any other town.
Can I have a motion to approve this resolution?
Moved.
For a second,
Engelhardt will second.
roll call please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pissarro,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council President Long,
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes, I'm sorry, we have a problem with our alarm. Go ahead, yes.
that's okay, Council Vice President Rosetti,
Yes,
yes, okay,
thank you.
that's a yes.
Yes, it was. Thank you so much. All right, under the work session, we have a continued discussion on temporary signs. You were sent the draft version of the sign ordinance. I sent it out to our zoning officer and our property maintenance officer. Both of them had one comment only. And that comment was your fine is too cheap. It should be more money to discourage
This is a
people.
violation, Mayor.
Yes, yeah.
I
we
made,
have
the
it-
council's right, I made a notation in there about the violation and.
Yeah, so they have it at 50 and
You guys
they wanted
decide.
it 100,
Of course they did, that proves the point Bob, that I told you in my email, basically, so that shows you what the enforcement officers are always looking for here, which is teeth. Money and
teeth,
teeth,
they're looking
right?
for teeth.
It makes no difference to me, but
And they're looking for people to stop because they don't wanna go around
Yeah.
chasing people with signs. I mean,
I
that's what
essentially
comes-
predicted that comment, so.
Right, so they asked the council to consider doubling the fine. And Chris also noted that we had given commercial signs 14 days. And we already have in our ordinance 7. And he wanted to get a concurrence on
I
what he
kept it
wanted.
at 7 for now, because I figured you guys seemed like you wanted to have a little bit of a narrower filter, but I don't care, it's up to you guys. I went back and listened to the video 6 times just to make sure I captured everything right. I also
Right.
learned from watching that video that I need to speak much slower because I had problems understanding myself. Which is why if you noticed tonight, I've been speaking much slower and much closer to the microphone,
Oh, that's
because I
fine.
can understand each of you fine, but I couldn't
Can you
understand
please give
myself.
that lesson to George Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America, because I can't understand anything he ever says.
Yeah, I think I was able to distill in the documents that you were presented, everything
Okay.
you guys want.
Thank you, so
So-
let's take this one at a time. Do you wanna keep the ordinance the way it is currently at 7 days for these commercial signs instead of 14? Or do you wanna go to 14? I'm just gonna poll everybody, Councilwoman Engelhardt,
I think 14 is more appropriate.
Councilwoman, sorry, 14. Council President,
Same, 14.
Councilman Leonard, okay, Councilwoman Rossetti,
I think 14.
okay, Councilman Park,
Yep, 14 is good.
14.
Got it?
And how do you feel about putting more teeth to assuage your in if you're gonna make it more lenient one way, are you willing to make it more strict the other for enforcement purposes, because you're giving them more time to begin with? And make the fine go to $100, Councilwoman Engelhardt?
No.
No, you're not willing to go to 100,
No.
Councilwoman Pissarro? Yes. Council President?
So I just want to clarify, so if they exceed the 14 days, $100.
Yeah, any violation, yes. I took that because it isn't, like I know my email to you guys, it is in other parts of your ordinance and. When you do it, people don't follow it. So, you know, it's the $50, like the soft one, I forget exactly where I pulled that from, it was one of the other provisions. Maybe the garage sale one, So either you go to 100, it's up to you. I mean, I always know what the feedback I get from the enforcement agents afterwards. They come to me and say, how do I do this? You didn't give me any teeth, you didn't give me any.
Right.
So,
They don't-
so 100, did 100 get them closer? I don't know. I don't, you know.
I'm fine with that.
The 100, Councilman Lovett?
So wait, is this 50 day or 100 once?
It's a
or-
day.
$100
The day.
50 is fine.
for any violation, not just a day, but for any violation.
Still 50.
You're 50, Councilman Parker?
Yep.
Which one? 100?
$100.
100, Councilwoman Rossetti?
So I have a question. Is this after they would have been warned, to take your sign down? Or are we just like racking up the days without even telling people?
I think our property maintenance officer warns everybody. He gives everybody an opportunity.
I believe so too, but I just would want to make sure that that is happening and people don't even realize they're racking up.
That is a policy that comes from us saying to, it's like saying to the cops, we would really like it to give our borough residents a warning rather than a ticket, slam everybody else. But, you say it like that, so to the property maintenance officer, it would be the same, we'd really like you to warn somebody.
Yeah.
Take it down.
I mean, I think $50 is enough. I mean, that's a heavy hit already, I think personally, but that's.
Some towns don't want it at all, that's why.
I'm actually 3 to 3. Am I actually gonna suggest a tie here? I'm going with 100 because our professionals, our professionals. I don't they don't want to be chasing signs. They just don't. So
7 days, guys, if we come to agreement on 7 days.
I would have gone 50.
I would have been fine. with
Right,
it, if
but if we're gonna be more
down the road-
lenient one way, then we gotta tighten it up the other. That's how I feel too. All right, so those two issues were the issues that were brought up by either our attorney or by our property maintenance official or zoning officer. Does anybody else have anything else in the ordinance that they're not comfortable with, they want tweaked, they want changed, they want added? Otherwise, I'll ask our attorney to put it into formal introduction. And
Mayor, council members that asked the question about the warning. That's a woman.
can we put that in there? That they get,
When you put that in there, I think that is discretionary, it's something you guys can direct, but there is, remember, and I wanted to go back and double check this. The first is just court costs. So the first violation for an individual would be just court costs, so it would be the second violation.
so the first
So,
violation
yeah,
is.
remember that language is from your ordinance as it exists now, I just took that as like almost placeholder. So
So how does that work?
Court cost is $35.
I've got to sign up, I'm refusing to take it down, so Dave Giuliani writes me a summons and I have to pay court
It comes
costs.
back and.
And I still have it up though, I've left it up the whole time,
Now, I just
but
want.
now I'm stupid, right, I'm still stupid.
Yeah, I don't know the mindset of someone,
I don't know.
be speculating,
I don't know,
so just be
you're
aware.
laughing out there, why wouldn't I take it down?
You can change this any way you want, right? This was not discussed in your discussion in either of the meetings. I added it in there just because A, it's in your, like I said, it's in your ordinance already, and people typically look, you have to write a ticket.
Well, I mean, neither Dave nor Pat said anything about this is a second step.
Yeah, I can remove that part of it too. I just wanted to make sure because Councilwoman Rossetti did bring up the issue of a warning
Well, that's certainly a warning,
and, you know.
so the first
The warning is built in
violation,
already. is what
Could
you're
be
saying.
looked that way, yes, that's
Yeah.
one way of looking at
the
it.
first violation is a $35 court fee.
That's just purely just language in your ordinance that I
In
took, so it was
addition to the
consistent,
100.
right? So
And
it
then-
would look like
and
that's
then-
your ordinance.
And then after they pay the $35 court fee and they have a summons and they still have to take it down,
No.
then they get hit with $100 a day.
Subsequent offense could be done by day. It would be just again
Oh,
discretionary.
it is discretionary in the.
It's subsequent offense, right? I
Subsequent
mean,
offense,
you would have to
okay.
give guidance more administrative. For what you expected from the enforcement officer, right? They could go every day. Or. They might
Or is
not,
it by sign?
not by sign,
It's not by sign.
by offense.
So I've taken my sign down, I paid my $35 and the next day I put it back up. I get hit with.
Well, no, it.
Well, let's say a
would
week
the
later you
same,
find out.
because then would you also start a new clock, it would depend on what is the event? Why would you do that if it was an event that was over already, right? I mean, some of it is just common sense, right? I think that would be self-enforcing,
Okay,
Councilwoman
Councilwoman Rossetti, are you feel better about this, if the warning is a $35 court fee?
Yeah, and I guess also when we're issuing these permits for events and signs, there's notification there, right? On like what will happen if they don't follow
Oh, yes, they're in there
Okay.
now.
That's.
Okay,
Like a reasonable person would be moved to not go to $100.
I don't think you're gonna I don't think you're gonna be getting many tickets on this. I don't think there's gonna be
okay,
many
so you got a
tickets.
$35 court fee, which is less than the $50. So,
So- 14 days, $100, or the 2 day, from my perspective that I'm making.
Right.
I have not gotten any other feedback, I'm happy to take other feedback.
okay, so I would ask everybody here if you read it,
There is still time to.
yeah, if you just scanned it, yes, you have time to read it again and get Chris' feedback. And I'm happy if you do that. If otherwise, Chris is gonna take the watermark off of this and he's gonna send it
it's
into
just a
Carlos
couple
for
more minutes.
introduction.
You do have the land use aspect of the ordinance too. Oh, remember that. I sent that is, I sent you a separate email on that. Part of the ordinance does touch on your land use.
Right, so it's gonna have to go to the planning board for.
So-
Yeah. I separated it separately so you wouldn't have to delay though.
Oh, no?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Councilman Parker, did you have something?
Yeah, so Robin just pinged me and she was asking about,
Where's
for,
Robin?
for new businesses that are opening and you say coming soon, what is that? Cause I can't remember, what did we say about that in terms of how long they can?
Have a banner up?
Yeah,
Don't use that word banner, Mary.
Oh, it's not a banner, it's a sign.
no, that's just a sign,
So.
right, that's just a sign, so like, for instance, Aunt Millie's is coming soon, Aunt Millie's, letting people know that it's coming.
Right
Is
now,
that gonna be like 30 days out? Is that gonna be, cause I
No.
think it does need to be more than 2 weeks.
right now, they are allowed to put up pay a fee, I think it's $50. And put up a banner saying that or a sign saying that for 14 days. Then they can pay again and keep it up another 14 days and they can pay again. And
So it's
pay-
just an ongoing thing.
There's nothing in our.
I was just trying to remember.
And I don't think we changed that. Did we?
Okay.
Chris?
I didn't think we changed, I didn't
think we changed
remember.
that for, if they wanna put up some kind of banner like that,
Don't say banner.
I think it's 14 days.
We're about to do your banner ordinance
Right,
next,
14
right?
days
So-
before the event, and they don't.
That's pretty subtle difference.
They don't have an event. If they said coming on September 19th, they could put it up because it's a 14-day banner or sign prior to an event. But they don't have an event, so that is not addressed. All they can do is pay every 14 days for the right to have that sign up for 14 days. So. And I don't know why anybody would wanna sign up like that for that long,
Like I said,
because,
self-policing, some of it's gonna be self.
no, I mean, I'm just saying from a marketing position, you know.
Because we're trying to incent businesses, some of them are gonna have a real long haul to make their, like, to convert existing, whatever the structure is, into something new. It's not a bad sign. to
But coming
say.
soon to me means it's really coming soon.
I think.
And I
you
think
have
about
to
Garden
really-
State salad,
Yeah,
like how long are we waiting for
No.
coming soon?
no,
So,
but if they have a plan and they're following a plan, I think it's exciting to see that things are coming soon, especially in the place of a blighted vacant.
I think that there's some validity to that. Hold on, I think that there's some validity to that. I think the bottom line is this, I think there's two trains of thought here. For a new business that is opening, you do want people to know that you're coming and you want to give them more than 2 weeks to say that, right? 6 months is a long time, so we don't want that nonsense. But if it's a month out, if it's 90 days out, that's one thing. If it's a month out, that's another thing. So I do think it needs to be a ramp up because that's basic marketing. That is advertising. You do want to let people know your business is coming.
wouldn't you rather have to say something like coming by Christmas 2024 versus coming soon, which to me sounds like it's like.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can make the wording you can make. I think the bottom line is that it's to talk about there is something coming. And to Robin's point, I think that's a very valid point that you want to see people want to see that things are getting ready to happen. So I do think that's a valid point.
Mayor, I think that your interpretation probably is not the way this is written. I think that,
It's not my interpretation, it's the zoning offices.
oh, no, I'm saying, with
They've already
regards to the
told them.
14, like the rolling, like,
No,
back from
that's
14.
coming from our zoning officer who called me about this
Oh.
specific site.
okay, so whatever, I think that, and the way the way that this is written, which is purely based on the discussion that this governing body had. That I think that for a under the factual circumstances that Robin has raised to Tony, that a business that is opening on a site would this permit would allow them a 14-day window, not a repeatable 14-day.
Just for.
14 days prior to the scheduled date of the event, that's the opening of the business, right? That's how, I mean, we can change it, but.
I think you have to, now, I don't think,
One instance for
It's
one.
not
No,
just one,
I
though. We
think-
want more businesses in town,
But
so,
business-
and I don't think that's business friendly.
The business is.
no, it's not, I agree with you, I think 14 days is just, you can't do that for a business that is opening. You just can't, I mean, it doesn't encourage a business to want to open here. If I'm opening up a designer shop and I'm saying it's coming soon, then that's letting people know something's getting ready to happen, and it's a call to action, and
Okay.
that's what you want.
So if
You
we're
want
gonna
call-
add, if we're gonna amend this ordinance and change it, and I don't have a problem with that. What's a reasonable amount of time for them to have a sign out about when they're coming? And I personally would prefer them to give a time frame. Coming this spring, coming this Christmas.
That's perfectly fine, that's perfectly,
What's your time frame? We
Rob,
require,
what do you
they have to
recommend?
give a time frame about when they think they're coming, either a month or a,
So we're carving out an
Season.
exception for the specific use.
for this specific, yes, for this specific use, for new businesses coming into town.
Accepting new businesses that are coming to town may be given X amount of time.
Yeah,
You just
what's
tell
the
me
time?
X. So.
What's the time? Robin, what's the time?
I think you have to assume there's some construction going on.
Definitely a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah, go ahead,
Um,
1 month.
I think 2 months is fair.
yeah, I would say 8 weeks. Yep.
Days,
If you're doing construction, maybe you
Okay.
apply for an abatement, and this is really like an incentive to get new businesses to put up a sign.
Okay.
Commit to coming, and you have to have permits maybe, maybe you have
Permits,
to have.
construction permits.
Construction permits.
okay, so
A lease.
could go up 60 days, for 60 days. They have to have. Construction permits, because that means they already have a lease, because they can't get construction permits unless they own the
Or-
building or they're
yeah.
leasing it.
Yep.
Construction permits in place,
If they're not doing construction but they're,
the sign has to give a time frame of when they're gonna open, not an exact date, but a time frame.
I think that's very fair.
And what else, Robin, if they're not doing construction?
If they're not doing construction and they're coming soon, I'm not sure what happens.
Yeah, I would.
I don't try to muddle this. It's gonna be, let's just leave it at 60 days whether they're doing construction or not, I mean, because then it just goes,
It's a new
it
business.
gets too confusing.
Councilwoman Engel.
A new business is a new business, period.
Yeah.
They've gotta have, well, maybe we should say they need to have construction permits or a lease in hand.
Yeah.
I
And
would just,
I
Yeah.
know from
Just leave it as construction
businesses,
permits,
I would just say 60 days before opening and that will self-police itself.
so,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
I think that's what what
I mean,
Councilman Barker.
we just went through the marketing presentation about, and getting the buzz and stuff. Honestly, I think I would defer to our FCP liaison and our FCP director and the members of the FCP to kind of help us determine that, because I think they're the ones that have an idea. Hey, how long did it take for you to get your act together, to get your business together? Honestly, I think 90 days is more appropriate, but that's just, I've never opened a business, so I don't know, but
Well,
I
Robin,
Well-
think we just went through this whole thing where we're trying to create a buzz. I think.
Well,
we're kind of watching
Well, if
exactly-
Robin is saying 60 days and she's the executive, I'm gonna go with Robin's, she thinks that's fair, so 60 days, let's just go for it.
okay, let's do
60 days, self-policing, no construction permits, no lease,
Yeah,
nothing.
just from the date of intended open, if you see abuse.
Right,
I don't
and
think
but
you'll
it
see,
should say
always
a
it's
time
up.
frame when they
Now
think
you'll
they're
see
coming,
abuse to it, right? It's a
okay,
very specific use, hopefully many more coming, as Councilman Bernhardt said, but I don't think you'll have.
okay.
No
And what
problem with
are we
that.
charging extra for this, any more than a regular sign? Cause it's gonna be up so much longer? I'm just asking, I'm just throwing it out there.
I think it's an incentive to take on a project in this town and feel like it's business friendly,
So they get, it's the same fee as any other sign,
Yeah, right now it's
Okay.
$25 for non, $50 for this would be.
right?
When you tell everybody in like online, or they say, I've committed myself to drinking 8 glasses of water a day, and you're announcing that, it kind of inspires you to keep moving forward.
Alright, so it's $50, 2 months. Needs a time frame, and that's it, no other requirement.
Yeah, already.
Any incoming new
Okay, one
businesses,
little hitch.
okay?
What happens if like Millie's who put up their sign and then heard from enforcement like 10 minutes later that the sign wasn't permitted and that they could only keep it for 14 days. That's how, this is a real world example, their building's not gonna be complete until December. So what happens, can they renew it or
There's a
not
difference
renew it?
between construction sites and, that they're.
Honestly, they own that site, right?
Yeah,
They own that site, that's their property.
they own the building.
Their building and I walk by it every day.
It's a
I-
big,
I-
for our small town, and
This
by
is
the
a big
way,
deal.
for all small towns that have a contaminated brownfield gas station on their main streets. This is one of those, like, God shines brightly on projects like this, because it's really hard to get a contaminated gas station off your main street and make it viable again, so.
So Robin, let me ask
Yeah.
you this question, if they put up a sign on October 1st, and they get 60 days, it says, coming December, Aunt Millie's blah, 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 right? Then on December 1st, they put up a new sign saying, grand opening, December 22nd. It's a totally different sign.
Yeah.
Can they
It
do
is a
that
different
rather
sign.
than putting up a sign now? Or they can put up a sign now for 60 days and then by the time we get through all this, it's gonna be almost October 1st, right? So, but, they could put up a sign for 60 days and then say, with a grand opening date. And that's a totally different sign, it's another $50.
Yeah, that's fine,
But by the time we finish this ordinance,
and
I
honestly.
mean, right now they can keep that sign up there for those
This-
14 rolling days until this is done.
In this particular instance, they drove to like Rochester, New York to buy a historically accurate sign that would have fit on the main street. They're really excited to put their real sign up,
Yeah.
but for right now, while it is an ongoing construction, repurposing, transformation, and by the way, everybody's talking about it on Facebook. Actually having some real information and an attractive image of what's to come is it's good, that's a good sign.
Right.
That's a good sign. So,
I have a question, when it comes to just general construction, last year, we had the historic courthouse under construction for the entire year. And it's a publicly funded project and the.
Well, it's
county-
not, it's a publicly,
Well, the construction was funded
State.
with state
State
funds,
funded.
and there was a big sign in
oh,
front
okay,
that.
that's fair.
Alright, and it says, funded by this and hosted by this
Right.
and all the. Where does that fit in here? Like in this ordinance, are we every single, I just think that if the town is being revitalized and being fixed up and there's big projects going on. I'm confused as to how this ordinance
So
addresses that.
the signs on the historic courthouse were required to be put up by the state, just like farmland preservation signs. They are state jurisdiction
You'd have
and,
very limited, with no authority, if these are like
yeah.
your highway dollars paid by.
yeah, exactly, we can't stop one of
You would- they
those.
would not.
Okay,
Yeah.
bad example.
Like walking by any building in New York, it's got like a
Yeah,
description, like a picture of what's gonna be there, on the chain link fence that you're currently staring at.
So those signs would run into dimensional problems here in Flemington. You could talk
Maybe
about,
not that
you
big.
could talk about the immense about that, I mean, they would, I think you got it, it's in here somewhere, but give me a sec, but you would have. You could change that too, by the way, up to you guys,
I don't know, I
I
just
think this is
think,
going beyond
It
what
really is.
our zoning officer and our
I
farm
think
manager
it's
asked us to
over the
do.
intent.
Well, yeah, but you guys don't think
Well,
that doesn't happen here.
like, I thought we were very
This is
close.
stuff that doesn't happen here, so.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, it's happening on Main Street right now. There's lots of signs up related to a big construction project there. So are all those signs in violation now?
I don't know,
I was going way over,
You
we're
can
going
tell
way
me really
over.
have many signs other
Well,
than,
but I think
It's a lot.
for
It's gonna come under
signage,
enforcement.
The
Right.
preferred signage would be one that says what the project is going to be and has an image of what it will look like when it's done that's already been approved. Maybe that's the thing, because Millie's design has already been approved by the planning board. It is a rendering, just
That's
like.
also different. If it's a planning board, then it's fine.
Right,
No, but I don't think we approved the sign to go on the front.
We didn't
Or
approve
the
the sign,
temporary
but the
sign for
rendering is
construction, like we didn't, that wasn't
I
approved.
mean, remember,
by the
this,
planning board.
this came from our property maintenance officer and our zoning officer to fix the fact that United Way was having an event and they were gonna be charged $50 for every lawn sign that was gone out. Because some administration, and I don't know which one, passed a sign ordinance saying all lawn signs for events are $50 a piece. So that was really the target of all this. I mean, all this other stuff.
Like all this.
Is it
My dad always said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right,
That's
right.
broke, trying to fix it,
All
but
this-
all this other stuff, we're not, isn't broke. Nobody's
An applicant
complaining
is
about the
correct.
Unitil
An
or.
applicant is
Right.
granted relief by the planning board, and it doesn't fall neatly into one of these categories, they can do whatever they want. They've been granted relief by the planning
But
board as
it's
a
a
condition of their
it's
approval.
a temporary
It's
sign.
temporary
That's the
facility.
problem.
It's in every construction front end, it should, isn't there a sign, there should be a sign over at the police station too. I mean, it's.
There is no sign to police station.
I bet she has, I bet she
Neola has a
has
sign over there?
provisions in the front
But-
end.
There's a
Does
ban.
Neola Construction have a sign
Yeah,
for
but-
police?
Oh,
building? No,
But I guarantee you,
No, but this is-
she has provisions in the front end for one, if they wanted to
But-
put one up.
PSNS?
Yeah.
No,
In their front end, there is
I don't think so. I've been working with PSNS a long time. I've never seen a
every
sign.
single front end I write has a temporary facility section, I'm sure there's does too. I'm sure of it. I didn't say that the contractor's taking advantage of it, but I guarantee you
Well,
it's
hang
in
on.
their front end.
The sign would be covered already by,
For the construction sign.
which is C1 and C2 for.
Okay,
Right,
good.
it's already in
And
there.
that we are not changing.
Right. It
That
can be
was,
up there.
because your original instructions to me were already in sync with what those, you look, I gave you the whole part in this ordinance, you can see how it works in like as a, it's like an organism. But the only part you guys ended up changing was 3, which is the.
Well, so why did the zoning officer give the diner on the corner a hard time?
Because it's in violation of an ordinance. He's putting it up now indefinitely, and our current ordinance is 14 days for $50.
But I thought you just said that.
I don't know what the downer sign, what does the downer sign specifically say?
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
So coming soon is different than what Nell is doing. Nell is more like Trent Levitt's painting,
Right,
yeah. So they're
Right.
different, they operate under different parts of the ordinance.
I know that.
But if the diner has been delayed in construction, is
But it's
that it?
still under,
Is
it's
that
under
it?
yeah, it's under
But it's
construction.
been delayed and.
Just recently though.
The site's been under construction for a long time, so I'm just,
The site just got its permits, its construction permits last week.
well,
So-
no, they had their demo permits last year, they did
Yeah,
demo last
but-
year, and they did their site stuff. All I'm saying is, there has been some form of construction on that site for a long time. Where do we draw the line here? I want to, I really appreciate Dave, you know, bringing this problem to our attention, and we need to fix that $50 sign thing. I'm just thinking we got a little bit of overreach here when it comes to development and construction, you know, it's already expensive enough as it
Okay,
is.
the FCP executive director suggested 60 days and agreed that there should be some term with regarding when they're coming. Period. No other provisions for $50. So, you know. The liaison to FCP refers to the executive director, I'm referring to the executive director. You know, anybody else not referring to the executive director, because that's what Chris is gonna put in this ordinance. For businesses that are coming to Flemington, whether they're new businesses and doing construction or new businesses not doing construction, it's all the same. Make it easy. $50, 60 days, tell us some approximate date you're coming. Then you can have a new sign for $50 that says, here's our grand opening. For another 60 days. But once you start having events, then it becomes 14 days, must come down within 3.
So
Whatever you
Chris,
want.
just I wanna pause and rewind. for you.
Sure,
So go back to the legwork that you did.
sure.
As far as other towns, do other towns get this hands dirty?
I think that you're right in the sweet spot for what I think is enforceable, based on what I've observed.
Okay.
I think that any further layer, just from what I've observed, both in the qualitative analysis I gave you and just in the course of doing this for a while, I think that any further layer of complication, it's subjective, but any further layer of complication would put a lot of subjective power in the zoning officer's hands.
Okay.
Did you tell me, correct me if this is a dream, where Township is a much more,
Barron's a little closer what you guys are trying to do, if I recall.
right, okay, but.
I don't, but also, I think that you might be also conflating with our discussion, which we're not talking about tonight, about food trucks.
You're right.
I think that you're thinking about our discussion with food trucks.
Because
That's coming, guys,
Yeah,
not tonight.
yeah, right, because we're,
Yeah, Raritan County was-
because one of the things we have to keep in perspective, we're a little borough that's
Yeah.
very busy. We have lots of signs on Main Street, lots of crap on Main Street, and garbage cans and benches and trees and landscaping and buildings with signs, and it's just busy, busy, busy.
Well, I do think that.
And it's like, how much more busy do we
Well, I
want?
do think that Raritan Township was probably closest from in this area. I think that you're thinking about it.
I think I am,
Yeah.
you about that, too. Alright, so is there a consensus on the 60 days, $50 coming soon? With some sort of time frame, not a specific date? And they can get a totally different sign later. For another $50. Councilman Rossetti, you good with that?
Good.
Councilman Parker,
Yep.
Councilman Levitt, do a thumbs up, Council President,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasaro,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Sure.
Okay, I think that, is there any other changes, anybody else, well, again, you
Very,
can,
very minor.
that's okay, go ahead. Is there-
I'll start with the easy two. Does apply to the borough itself.
I'm
We
sorry,
host events, right?
it does not apply to
You're
borough.
exempt from your own.
Um,
In true government fashion, you're exempt from our ordinance, right?
minor typographical error in, it's missing word not.
Yeah, no, I just saw that, right? So yeah, it's obviously the sections have to be distinguished. So, yes.
Last question.
The hard
Sure.
one.
The how many signs per permit? I don't remember the exact discussion. You said you watched
Oh.
it 6 times.
It's different from permit to
We-
permit.
We made
For
it a
the,
lot more.
for the, not requiring permit, it's 10, and I believe it is, if you scroll up to the requiring a permit,
Oh, it
it
is
is,
different.
40?
15 with the exception of street.
Okay, never mind.
Big festivals went
Big
to,
street festivals
went
for
to
40.
40.
That clears it up. I didn't see the other part
Yeah,
and the other 2 numbers, which is the numbers I remember, and, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That consistent with what everyone's memory, I think it is.
So Chris, if you could clean this up as soon as possible and send it back out to everybody, so they can take another look at it,
Sure.
and if we need to have another discussion, I'd rather do this right than do it fast, so we need to know if everybody's comfortable with this cleanup, we'll introduce it, if not, we'll have another discussion on September 23rd. And I held off the banners because we were waiting for, I believe Councilman Parker said my champion was supposed to be doing some research on a.
Yeah. I'll ping him on that because he was
Yeah,
gonna get some
only because
information.
I don't know if it's gonna be the fire department's ability to hang something like this. There's no
Well,
DPW.
well, I think, Jeremy, do you know where that stands with the fire department?
You have to know what the system is before they can make that
Yeah.
decision.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you for that conversation. That was good. Like I said, I'd rather get it right and hear everybody's problems. We're at public comment session number 2. Anybody, we have somebody else online?
An iPad.
Okay, and Robin, will you pass them on this one? I won't yell if you don't. Payment of bills, authorizing payment of bills in the amount of $655,364.41. And I have a motion.
Oh, move.
Is there a second? Engelhardt seconded. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Joel Fasaro,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council President Long.
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Council Vice President Rossetti.
Yes.
Okay, we have an executive session regarding like placeholder negotiations, Cardinal Captiva and Courthouse Square. There is very brief update on that and personnel matters, there's a few topics to just bring up in general. So can I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll move.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Let's take 10 minutes for anybody who needs to see the club.
If you're online, you'll need to remove yourself from the meeting, prior to executive
Robert,
session.
thank you.
Yeah, I got it's right.
I'm not gonna.
Not yet, thank you. Thank you. All right, we're back in open session. There's no business actions to take. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
There's a second.
Bill Hartl, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh,